What's going on, everybody? Let me get Eric on here real quick. Shouldn't be a solo camera. Let me sort this out really quick. What's going on? It's very early in the morning, but I'm up. Eric's up. We got a trade to talk about. And we'll be talking about it in a sec once I get this situated. I didn't realize this was a solo camera. All right, we'll bring you in here, Eric. What's going on? It's 8:08 in the morning, and the Blazers have finally traded CJ McCollum. It's been years of discussion about the Blazers trading CJ McCollum. A bunch of people have been pro-trade CJ McCollum. A bunch of people have been against it, but we finally have what has seemed inevitable at times, but also impossible at times. CJ McCollum is being traded to the New Orleans Pelicans along with a package of Larry Nance and Tony Snell. The Blazers get back Josh Hart, Thomas Satoransky, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, a first-round pick and 2 future second-round picks. We'll discuss the pick that Portland is getting. Eric, what's going on, man?
Good morning, Torey.
Good morning, man. I'm off like no sleep.
Thank you for actually answering your phone. I appreciate it.
Why did they have to make this deal at 8 a.m.? That's my first question.
It was even earlier than that because it was...
Yeah, until we got the details, yeah. But why this Friday? Why couldn't they make it at like a 6 p.m., just something nice?
Yeah, I got the text at 7:12 this morning. Luckily, I was already up because my son's bus stop picks him up at 7:10, so I was coming back in from doing that, and it was a waiting game to see what the compensation was, but it was also kind of bittersweet because I just want to start off by saying CJ took a lot of heat, but much like Dame, he was also loyal to Portland and did a lot of good things here in the community, and is a really good dude. So it's kind of sad to see the Dame CJ era come to an end. I understand why it happened, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have traded him, but just want to say thank you to CJ for everything he did for Portland.
Yep. Yeah, I can't even wrap my head around the fact that he's gone. Like we were preparing for this, but still kind of surreal that he's actually being traded. I'll plug the trade in on the trade machine in a second and kind of look at some of the details of this.
We took Didi back too.
Oh yeah, we took Didi Lizuta back too. I don't know why. But yeah, we did that. So Portland does get a pretty big TPE from this trade. We'll calculate that in a second and see what it is. Shoot, I can just bring up the trade machine right now.
Well,
if you guys want.
I think Nance matches Hart and maybe Didi. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker could go into our other trade exception that we got the other day, right?
Yeah. So let me just throw this...
Or actually, yeah, I don't know.
I'll calculate it right now. I'll throw this up right now, alright? So...
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
CJ...
Hope everyone's having a good morning.
Yep, CJ Nance Snell is technically 1.7. You got Josh Hart to the Blazers. Satoransky to the Blazers, Alexander Walker to the Blazers, Didi Lizuta to the Blazers. New Orleans is trading their... we'll talk about the picks in a second, all right? So... Yeah, so Pelicans used their TPE on Larry Nance Jr. Snell doesn't actually count as incoming salary because he's a minimum, so says they use their TPE on him, but they don't. So,
we could cancel out Didi with Snell.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker is able to be absorbed into... Honestly, Nance, I think, outright matches Hart and Alexander-Walker on his own. Because that's 10.6 for 15.2.
So we're under the tax, yeah.
And we're under the tax. If not... then Nickeil Alexander-Walker gets absorbed into that $6 million trade player exception that Portland got in the Clippers trade. So the traded player exception that Portland's going to get from this, Eric, is going to be $20.8 million.
Yep.
Now, if they could have found a way to flip Thomas Satoransky to a different team, then it would have been $30.8 million. But it's going to be $20.8 million. So that is the trade player exception that Portland gets from this. That is the trade on paper. Portland also gets New Orleans' 2022 second. Okay, that's... Portland gets it if it's between picks 5 and 14, Eric.
First, you said second.
First, yeah, sorry. It's 8:13 in the morning. I'm probably going to misspeak numerous times. But Portland also gets New Orleans' 2022 first-round pick, all right? So we had this discussion a couple days ago on, like, could they convey a pick that they owe, you know what I mean? Like, New Orleans owes their pick if they're in the playoffs, they owe their 2022 first somewhere else, all right? So if New Orleans misses the playoffs, we get New Orleans pick this year if it's in the lottery. I wish it was conveyable 1 to 14, but obviously they weren't going to do that. 5 to 14 is pretty good. Yeah. So right now Portland would have the 8th and 9th picks in the draft. So that's a start. Now you hope that the Pelicans miss the playoffs, because I don't know what the protections are after that, but...
Well, depending on what it is, maybe if it's unprotected next year or something, but yeah.
Yeah, that is the hope. Let me thank some donos. Shout out to Daniel... Is that the first one? Yeah. Shout out to Daniel G with a $5 dono. Says, did they trade away Larry due to money reasons to make the money work? Trading away Larry created the $20.8 million traded player exception, so I have to wonder if they're going to try and use that traded player exception. Like that was a reason for making the trade and trading away Larry Nance Jr., because I don't see why they had to throw Larry Nance Jr. into this trade. I mean, they gave up a first round pick for Larry Nance, you know, so I don't really understand.
I have something to say about that, but it's going to be kind of a rant, so let's finish the other donations first.
Yeah. Shout out to Shaggy Squid, $5 Australian dono. Says, Cronin just single-handedly killed this franchise. That return is a CJ alone return. That pick is heavily protected. WTF, it's as bad as the first trade. That pick is available 5 to 14. So usually heavily protected picks are protected like top 20, right? Or top 16 or top 18 or whatever. So it's weird protections, but it could end up being a pretty good pick. Now you just hope that the New Orleans Pelicans don't win games, right? And then you hope that they don't jump into the lottery. So the Blazers could be tracking 2 picks on lottery day. I wish this was a more loaded draft, though. Shout out Shaggy Squid for the $5 Australian dono. Shout out to Pineapple's 4-month channel member. His member message for the month is CJ playing point guard for the Pelicans? I think they'll continue to start Devontae Graham and play CJ at the shooting guard position. And then Nate J. Dub, $5 dono, says, you said it right, Eric. This is very bittersweet. Put CJ in the rafters. Thank you, Nate J. Dub. All right. Eric, what are your thoughts on this deal?
First of all, it's okay. And, Torey, I don't think you saw this yet because, you were busy making the stream and stuff. But there was some messaging this morning that CJ doesn't have any value and that the Blazers are struggling to get anything worthwhile back. So
we got a potential 9th overall pick.
No, but there was also at the same time there were people saying oh, the efforts between New York and New Orleans are ramping up and stuff. So between that and the whole messaging behind the Norm trade, I kind of feel like the Blazers are kind of pushing out this narrative that they had negative value to kind of get people to think that their trades are better than they were. So that's just a mini side rant. I'm not happy about that because... All right. Just got to prepare myself for this. Someone mark the tape.
Okay, its timestamp is 10:45.
This trade makes the trade on Friday exponentially worse. Here's why. Number one, we made that trade on Friday to get under the luxury tax and save money, right? This got us way under the luxury tax to where we wouldn't have had to dump anyone for that. We wouldn't have had to make a trade for financial purposes. This trade did all that for us, and we got assets back, right? So, like, we wouldn't have had to make a horrible trade just to make a questionable trade, right? We could have just made the questionable trade and been done with it, right? And so this makes no sense if you combine the two moves. And we'll hear people say, oh, well, they're just trying to be as bad as possible. You could have been as bad as possible by not playing like Rocco and Norm 35 minutes a game. Like, you could have played CJ Ellaby more minutes. You could have played Watford more minutes. Like, you didn't have to do that. Number two, everyone's talking about, oh, the Eric Bledsoe contract is so valuable because it's got such a low guarantee. They could flip that for something good and attach picks to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
This trade just created a TPE just as big as what we could take back in a Bledsoe trade, right? So, and all the players, Jeremy Grant, Miles Turner, just like we told you guys that a trade like this would create a TPE, right? All of that now is still true, but we don't need Bledsoe's contract now. We could absorb any of those guys without doing that. So maybe they're trying to get both or something. I don't know. I wouldn't put anything past them at this point. But this trade alone negates every single positive from the Norman Powell Robert Covington trade. This trade completely cements that trade as being probably one of the worst trades in Blazer history. And
yeah,
that combined with kind of questionable stuff from this trade, so you don't even get a Trey Murphy, you get probably their worst young player. I mean, it's arguable whether Jackson Hayes is worse because of the legal problems he might be facing, but you get there out of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jackson Hayes, and Trey Murphy. Herbert Jones obviously was untouchable. You got the worst one of those four.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, he's a freaking guard, right? He's a guard.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he is 6'6". At least he's not 6'3".
We got Josh Hart back, right? He's a guard, which is fine. I like Hart as a third guard. That's why the only reason I'm not fuming right now is Josh Hart, to me, is the perfect complement to a Dame and Ant backcourt moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
He can be the backup. He works well, complements either one of them when the other one is on the bench, and he can, unlike Norm or Gary Trent or whoever you want to insert there, he can play a little bit of small forward, and you're not as disadvantaged because he's actually decent at guarding forwards and stuff, right? So I'm not like horribly mad about the CJ part of this trade, but when you combine the two, I just think this organization completely messed up this rebuild. Now we still have, obviously 2 days till the trade deadline now. We'll see what happens here. If they flip it, they can still fix some of this, like maybe a Nickeil Alexander-Walker for Kendrick Williams or something. Like we can maybe make some moves that make sense for us moving forward. But now we lost Nance, who was on a really good deal for next year, and we gave up a first for him. We still owe a future first for him, and now he's not even on our team, and we didn't even get compensated back for him. We got compensated back for CJ, but it feels like we just threw Nance in for no reason, and now we didn't get anything back for him. Like, we basically traded him for free.
I feel like the follow-up move, Eric, is going to be like Keon Johnson and Alexander Walker to the Pistons, and we absorb Grant with the TPE or something like that. Which I think we'd we'd stay under the tax in that deal, right? Because Grant's contract is, I mean, this is just a wild prediction, kind of going off topic here, but Grant's contract is $20 million, and we created a $20.8 million traded player exception. So I feel like that's the follow-up move, is to flip those two for Grant, and then they're sitting there praying that the Pelicans pick is like 9th, and then praying that our pick ends up in the top 3.
Yeah.
Which, if that plays out, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily... I don't think it's good. I don't think it's bad, though. It's kind of like, given the first trade and how bad that trade was, it's kind of like, okay. As far as this trade goes, I don't think they had to trade Larry Nance Jr. in this trade to make it happen. They just wanted to trade him to create the $20.8 million traded player exception.
Yeah.
So that makes me think that they're going to use that for some sort of follow-up move.
But we were told that's why they got Bledsoe, right? Because he matches all those same guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first trade sucks. The first trade sucks. I absolutely agree with you. Like, this trade rendered the first trade completely worthless unless, like, Detroit gave us a list of young players they really like, and Keon Johnson was on that list, and that's how we're going to pull off, like, Keon Johnson and Alexander Walker for Jeremy Grant without giving up any picks, right? Like, that would kind of slightly justify the first trade, but I don't see how Eric Bledsoe's contract comes into play in things. I don't think that's an asset that provides Portland with any value in terms of trying to make a deal happen. Right? So, go ahead.
The only thing I'll say to that is, if you're right, and it's Alexander Walker and Keon Johnson for either one of Miles Turner or Jeremy Grant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you still have Bledsoe's contract and this first now and multiple seconds. Maybe you get something done and you end up with Turner and Grant. Maybe that's their end goal, to get both of them. Because now they have the things, it's just they don't have the picks if one of those teams doesn't want Keon or Nikhil Alexander-Walker.
That's the problem with not getting 2 firsts back for Rocco and Norm is I don't think they necessarily have the assets. I mean, it depends on what they got back for Nurkic. Maybe with Nurkic plus Keon Johnson plus Alexander Walker, you can get there. But I don't want to trade this Pelicans. No. I don't think I want to trade this Pelicans pick for Jeremy Grant. Because this isn't a terrible trade for me simply because of how good that pick can be.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a terrible trade if they make the playoffs. But right now, you're just sitting there...
Well, depending on what it turns into.
Yeah, absolutely. Because,
I mean, if it goes to, like, an unprotected first next year, then maybe... but, yeah, I don't know. That could be good next year, too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So right now, it's like we've been rooting for the Pelicans, right, to pass up the Blazers in the tank race. Now we're rooting against the Pelicans because we want that pick to be as good as possible. You don't...
But we still want it to be worse than ours because we can still move up. If they move up, we don't get it. So
yeah, so on draft lottery night, if they don't make the playoffs, it's going to be like, okay, we get 2 lotto picks, right? Unless their pick makes the top 4. So you don't want the Pelicans to make the playoffs, and you don't want the Pelicans on draft lottery night to jump up into the top 4, because those are the scenarios where they keep their pick. So if this pick ends up being like 9th, I mean, you're looking at some guys, right? If we can get the top 3 with our first pick and get Banchero, Smith, or Holmgren, or whoever, and then we can, if this Pelicans pick lands in the mid-lottery, you're looking at another really solid young prospect. And then if you can somehow get value out of this TP, like maybe it's a Keon Johnson and Alexander Walker trade for Jeremy Grant, then you're sitting there with some an intriguing roster next year. I mean, maybe they try and bring back Nurkic and you have like Dame, Simons, Hart, 3-guard rotation. You got Grant, Nurkic, and maybe you got Jabari Smith in there. And then, I mean, like you have some intriguing options, I guess. And it's not a bad team. So I don't I don't like this trade. But see, like, a trade like this, he could pitch as, like, oh, well, it's also setting up a follow-up move because of the $20.8 million trade player exception he created. Right?
Well,
that's an asset.
And that's why I was so disappointed in the other trade, because we traded out two guys that to the same team and kind of ruined our chance of creating a bigger TPE. So at least with this trade, yeah, they're for a year now until basically the next trade deadline, we have this big TPE that we could hold up and say, wait until we see what we get for this first. So there's still a completion to this trade to be possibly had. Now, if they let this expire too and don't get anything back, that's crazy. But we'll see what they get back from it. But the fact that this trade created that TPE will lead to hope, at least somewhat, that we finalize it by bringing in a player sometime this summer or next year. But yeah, it just makes me so mad about that other trade still.
Yep. Woj just tweeted twice. Portland's plan is to fully reshape roster around Damian Lillard now. Portland created a $21 million trade player exception today, potentially $60 million in salary cap space this summer. I don't know where the hell he's getting that number from. Multiple draft picks and assets via Pels and Clippers trades. Plan is to pursue high-end talent now, not retreat. So that's the Cronin spin on things.
Yeah.
Slash ownership spin on things. But
it's like Olshey never left with Woj.
Yeah, but I mean, Olshey definitely left because CJ McCollum is the
I meant just like from Woj's tweets, like that's exactly how Olshey would have crafted that statement too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate this trade. I don't like this trade. I'd give it like a C. I'd give it a C, and just like that's what it is.
It's got some outside potential to be good. Say we get like the 7th to 10th pick or something. I think that would be nice, and depending on who we select. I mean, if we end up with like a Jabari Smith and an AJ Griffin or something out of this draft,
I wish AJ Griffin would fall, man. I wish.
Yeah, but so we have quite a bit of.
All right, Donos, I can read them off. If that's what you're talking about.
Go ahead.
Hello? Eric?
Yeah, I'm here.
And you didn't say anything. You were going to say Donos, or?
No, I didn't say anything about the Donos, but go ahead and read them off.
Oh, quite a bit of what? Sorry, I should have cut you off then.
I don't know. Just read off the donos, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Michael Renella, $20 dono. What's up, Michael? Says, do you think they're trying to force Damian Lillard to ask for a trade by making these poor trades? If the organization traded Dame, the fans would crucify the head office. Blazers don't want to give that Damian that extension. I wouldn't say they don't want to give him that extension. I mean, you just heard the Woj tweet that says that they want to build around Dame, apparently. So I don't think that would come out if, they didn't plan on doing it. So,
well,
go ahead.
Here's why we're clearing the books or whatever. Okay, the theory is, Dame takes up so much cap space that you can't do anything. Right, you're screwed once you sign him to that extension. But that extension doesn't take place for several years. So this summer they saw an opportunity, I think, to completely clear the salary cap situation. Now, the problem is they didn't get enough draft pick compensation, in my mind, out of either trade to make this plan come to fruition, but that's still yet to be determined. But you have until that contract extension kicks in to put the pieces around him, and then once you have the pieces on your team, you can re-sign him for whatever that you want, right? So the plan is now you have how many ever years until that extension kicks in, or maybe it's just until you pay Ant, depending on how much he makes. You have that moratorium period, so through the draft and then through the first few days of free agency, to put what you think is the ideal roster around Dame. And if you can't do that, then from each point forward moving on, as his contract goes up, then it becomes increasingly more difficult. But they do have an avenue to put the pieces around Dame that makes sense before his extension kicks in, and then his extension kicks in, and we still have all those players on our roster. We don't have to get rid of anyone. We don't have to worry about how we're going to add another player around him because we already got those players. So the bottom line is this route is fine if you get the pieces this summer using that trade exception and the assets you got from this to put around Damon Ant. But if you fail in that, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And I don't think they got enough draft picks to pull off all these trades. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't feel like they have enough right now to pull off those trades.
I'd take this Pelicans pick over a 2024 Milwaukee first and another first round pick, another future first that might be lottery protected, right? I think this first is worth. I mean, if it falls in the lottery. If it doesn't fall in the lottery, this trade is a disaster for Portland if the Pelicans find a way to play their way into the playoffs. But as long as they miss the playoffs, this pick is worth 2 first-round picks, right? I wish they would have gotten Torey Murphy back instead. Portland also got 2 second-round picks, so I'm waiting to see what those second-round picks are to see if those are... I think the Pelicans just have their own. So I don't know what those second-round picks are. When somebody finds out, please tell us or let us know. If those are, solid second-round picks, then I don't really mind the pick compensation. I think it's fine. And if they are able to make something happen with the traded player exception, and that could justify giving up Nance in this deal too. So this deal on its own is okay. It's solid. I wouldn't say it's horrible. I wouldn't say it's great. The first trade looks even worse now, somehow. The first trade is an F. So, Eric, if they go from, F to C, we're going in the right direction, right? Maybe the next trade is a B, and then the next trade is an A.
Yeah, maybe.
Fingers crossed. Shout out to Nolan Marshall, 5 Canadian dollar dono, says we should lean into a full rebuild. A lineup of Dame, Ant, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, and Nurkic seems like a second-round exit at best. Well, if we get a top 3 pick and that guy's a star, then that obviously kind of raises the ceiling. And if Ant can be a star, then maybe that's your big 3. You know what I mean? That's basically the hope. The hope is Ant and whoever we get with our pick are able to become legitimate stars.
I don't like Jeremy Grant as small forward, right? So we know the top 3 picks are power forward. So if they're trying to get a top 3 pick, then that doesn't help us. Jeremy Grant, then he's not going to have a big role, or we're basically pushing our pick to the side or making him a backup or whatever. So I don't like that either. But the other thing about the pick, if we get a 9th or 10th pick, and let's say our pick is 5th or something, I guess maybe the possibility of combining those picks to move up if we don't get lucky and move into the top 4 or top 3, I guess. We now have a little bit of an asset to possibly move up in the draft. I doubt we'd get up to 1 or 2. But yeah, we might be able to do a little bit of maneuvering now that we wouldn't have been able to do before.
Yeah, agreed. Shout to Shaggy Squid, $2 Australian dollar dono, says, want a bet Zion comes back and they make the playoffs. No.
I don't know anything about where Zion's at, other than he's rehabbing in Portland, I guess, but I don't know where he's at mentally or physically. I'm not sure, yeah. It would just be a guess or speculation on my part.
Yeah, we pray that CJ just tanks in New Orleans. CJ needs to be our inside asset and make sure we get that draft pick, all right? And then CJ, next year you can pop off, man. But yeah, shout to Reese Cooley, $2 donut, says 4 words, Wemby and Chet together. If we suck next year too, then next year's draft is loaded, supposedly. So, if it really gets bad, then you're going to have a good young core at the very least. It's obviously questionable with Dame's timeline and everything, but you'd have something. The Under Armour Gamer, $5 dono, says, does making the play-in and losing count as missing the playoffs? Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
If the
You
Pelicans
have to
are
win, yeah.
9th or 10th, then they have to win both their playing games to make the playoffs. So at this point, Eric, I'm almost rooting for the Lakers. Believe it or not. Because I want them to stay ahead of the Pelicans.
Now you're a Lakers too.
Oh, goodness, yeah, now I'm a Lakers fan too, supposedly. We are... Dude, this season's so off the rails. Yeah, this is so off the rails this season, man. My goodness.
All right, are we caught up on the donations?
Nope.
JJ
LaFront, $2 donut says, I'm okay with Dame, Ant, Nas, Grant, Nurk, Hart, and 2 picks. Thank you, JJ, for the $2 donut.
That's luxury tax, man.
Who is?
JJ LaFont.
No, it isn't.
Huh?
JJ LaFont isn't luxury tax, is he?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Why do they have 2 separate Twitter accounts, then?
Like, that's what the kids do, man.
I mean, JJ, you can confirm or deny in chat if you are indeed luxury tax. If so... Oh, you are luxury tax? Oh, that throws me for a loop. Okay. Huh. Go ahead, Eric.
Okay.
It's too early to sort this out.
All right. Let me, guys... Okay. Woj's tweet... Immediately, right? It is completely misleading, okay? Don't believe that crap. All right, here's the deal. We have $60 million in cap space if we had no draft picks, because those count against our cap, right? So now we have potentially 2 top lottery picks, right? And that's going to be, if we get one of the top picks, those are what, 8 to 10 million now, as in terms of the cap, the rookie scale going up. And then the
who's the 9th pick from this past year's draft? I'll look at their salary right now.
9th pick was...
Or 10th.
Oh, 10th was Zaire Williams.
Okay, I'll go look at his salary.
7th was Kuminga.
Zaire Williams is making $4.3 million this year.
So it'd be a little
I'd say
more
the Pelicans,
than that.
Yeah, but I mean, if the Pelicans go up to like 11th, 12th,
yeah.
I'd say like $4 million range, and then our pick. Like,
and then how much
10
is
mil.
the 3rd pick making?
The 3rd pick right now. Who's the? Oh, Evan Mobley.
Yeah, how much is Mobley making? Like 8 something?
8 million.
Yeah. So we're talking about 12 million, right? So,
yeah, I would round up to 13 million.
13, yeah, 13.
Yeah,
let's be
approximately.
safe. All right, so let's say we get 13 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the 60 million,
mm-hmm.
for everyone's record, okay, that's Dame, Nas, Greg Brown. That's 60 million, but that doesn't include, we'd have 9 roster holds, we'd have draft pick holds, we'd
Josh
have
Hart.
Yeah, Josh Hart. So that doesn't include any of those guys. There was a Bobby Marks tweet saying we could possibly get out of Josh Hart's contract, but that doesn't include Bledsoe's 3-point.
We don't want out of his contract, though. Why would we want out of his contract?
I'm saying there is an out in his contract, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's a team option and then a non-guaranteed or something. Yeah, the next 2 years are non-guaranteed. And okay. So the next year is non-guaranteed, and then the 3rd year is player option. That's weird.
That is weird. I mean, I assume we keep him. He's worth his contract.
Yeah.
Like, he's averaging like 13 points per game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists per game, and is a good defender and shooting like 50% from the field.
But I'm just telling you guys, if anyone tries to tell you we could have that much cap space, it's cap, to use a pun. Because Ant's cap hold is a little over 11 million, right? So that that is not, the 60 million is not including that. So you combine Ant's cap hold with the draft picks, and we're talking about 25 million. You add Josh Hart, and all of a sudden we're at like 37, 38 million into that, right? So now we're talking maybe 22 million in cap space, right? Okay, maybe 22 million. Not 60, nothing close to 60, right? Like, if we traded our picks or whatever, maybe. But that would be stripped down and basically minimum contracts for everyone else. So I don't see any way, like, if your dream is to get Harden or whatever, like, I guess we could maybe make that work if he really wanted to come here. But we do not have 60 million in cap space, so don't believe anyone who tells you that. Okay, so we're talking 22 million, right? And that is only for that doesn't include Bledsoe either. So Bledsoe's still on our roster. There's another 4 million. So now we're down to 18 million, right? And then so we have minimum contract holds. I don't know how many players that is.
Neither do I.
I lost track, but we probably still have a few minimum contract holds. But so we're talking about 18 million as of right now to spend in free agency, which is good. I mean, you can get a good player, maybe 2 good players out of it, but we're basically, I mean, clearing the books does not allow us to just go after whatever player we want. And on top of that, if Nurk is still on this roster or part of the plan moving forward, that's 18 million, right? His cap hold, 18 million. So what did I just say? We had 18 million in cap space, right? So keeping Nurk, that negates any of that cap space. So we're down to 0 now. We still have the mid-level exception. Also, if you use the cap space, you lose your traded player exception. So that 20.8 traded player exception, if we somehow use that 20 million in cap space, we would lose that because that counts only in free agency as part of your salary cap situation. So we'd not only to get a player for about $20 million, we'd lose the trade exception. We'd probably lose Nurk. We'd probably lose a bunch of other stuff. So it's a myth that we're trying to get cap space. It doesn't make sense. I don't see any way that makes more sense than getting better players through trades and then having that trade exception, which is basically like having cap space.
Yeah.
Yep. D Thomas 19 says that 60 million got swallowed up real quick. Yep. So I mean, I just don't understand
it's just not a conceivable path, honestly.
I don't understand how people are doing that. And that's the 60 million is nuclear scenario where we let every single person go. And like I said, it's still not 60 million because you still have the draft picks and the roster holds because you have to have 12 roster spots accounted for on a contract. So yeah, we're talking about no chance at 60 million because Dame makes like 45 million right by himself. And that's without Ant. So all these things, like Woj says, they're planning on building around Dame, Ant, or whatever, but we might have 60 million in cap space. No, that's not true. That's not true. So, yeah, I expect more out of them, but, yeah.
Yep. You gotta love a Pelicans fan coming in here trying to tell people they aren't Blazers fans. Get out of here, man. Any more comments like that, and you're just gonna get kicked from chat. That's the last thing we need is a Pelicans fan telling us we aren't fans. Do the Pelicans have fans? I didn't know they had fans.
Well, the one fan they have shouldn't give their one fan a bad reputation, right?
Oh man, yeah. So okay, I don't even know where to pivot from this. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is not good.
Mm-mm.
Okay? Some people are going to like this trade because we got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I don't like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Eric.
Yeah.
He's, at best, a mediocre defender. He's shooting 37.5% from the field, which includes 43% from 2. So that's terrible. 31% from 3. He's a career 33% three-point shooter. He's not good. He's extremely inefficient. And he's not a particularly good defensive player. I don't see why people like him.
Yeah. He's basically a worse version of Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah. He's not good. He's not good. I pray that we flip him, dude. Because dude, this deadline is just us acquiring players that I never wanted on this team. I never wanted Nikhil Alexander-Walker on this team. I never wanted Eric Bledsoe on this team. I never wanted Justice Winslow on this team. I mean, maybe Nikhil Alexander-Walker helps the freaking tank, but I don't want. I don't. Yeah, no, he's not. He's just not good. He's not. And maybe he breaks out here, maybe Chauncey's everything he needed, whatever. But, right now, in this season, he has not been good.
Yeah. And once again, I don't know if Trey Murphy was available, but he's 6'8", could play either forward spot, was a good shooter.
I would be high. I would say this trade is a B+ if we got him.
So the fact that we couldn't get him and we didn't get an extra pick for giving them Nance, even though you said that you liked the pick, I still think the fact that we added Nance, the package we got should have been for CJ, so adding Nance should have given us a better pick. So the fact that we took Nikhil Alexander-Walker, I gotta hope that it's because we have another trade with him for someone that's useful, because now we lost Nance, who was, whether you like Nance or not, he's on a good contract that goes down to 9-something million next year, and that's a quality, even if he's off your bench, that's a quality 7th, 8th guy in your rotation at worst, right? So you lose that. I guess you pick up Hart, who can replace some of what CJ did, but you lost 2 rotational players. You lost 2 in the other trade without getting 1 back. So in the last few days, we're down 4 rotational players, and we didn't get but 1 person who can figure into the rotation next year.
Josh Hart.
But one. Sorry.
No, but one. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
I worded it funny. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
What Hart? So you lost 4 rotation players if you're trying to build a team for next year, and you only got 1 in return, and he just kind of counteracts one of those 4. It's not like we improved any of those 4, right? So
yeah.
That's the problem. And then, like I said, we didn't get many draft picks. 3 second-rounders and 1 first. So to get that star next to Dame, that's going to be tough. You're going to have to find a good way. So,
I mean, I think it's obvious at this point they're trying to make the roster as bad as possible this year. I think it's obvious that they're trying to tank. Yeah. I mean, they just could have done it in a better way where they got more assets and they still could have tanked, and that would have been, if we pulled off good trades for Norm and Rocco, I'd be sitting here saying, okay, we're having a solid trade deadline. This trade would look better if we had solid trades for Rocco and Norm. It's this trade, I feel like, looks worse because of what we got back for Rocco and Norm.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way I can word this. Shout out to Tom Fisher, $5 dono. So what is your take on what will happen with Dame? Is this a precursor to unload Dame, or do you really believe we plan to build around Dame? I lean towards the second, Tom. I lean towards the second. I think their idea isn't bad. Their execution is just bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly bad because of the first trade. This second trade, I don't mind. I don't think it's bad. I wouldn't say it's good. It's a solid trade. The worst, if the Pelicans pick somehow, some way ends up being 8th or 9th, it's I would say it's actually a good trade at that point. But assuming their pick is more 12th to 14th, it's okay. If we don't get their pick this year, it's a bad trade. That's basically what it comes down to as far as this trade. But I just think the execution was just off on this plan, because that first trade was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. From everything I'm hearing, we're still planning on building around Dame. We decided after Ant's breakout to go with the Dame CJ, a Dame Ant backcourt, and trade CJ and Norm. yeah, like you said, the execution of it was bad, but that is the mindset. Now, if they pivot from that and trade Dame, would that surprise me at this point? No, nothing would surprise me. Um, yeah, so who knows? Who knows? But I think they're definitely building around Dame. As of right now, they're still planning on doing this with Dame, not without him.
Yep. So that's the plan. We got fans trolling in here. Honestly, mods, you can put 5-minute timeouts on anybody trolling. It's too early to deal with, Laker fans and whatnot. Because what are the Lakers doing? Now we're rooting for the freaking Lakers, man. So, go ahead.
I just want to say in terms of the Pelicans, like, I thought going after CJ didn't make sense. I thought they should have gone after a younger guard or something, or like kept going with putting as many younger players around him.
Yeah.
But I must say, like, if they escape with this, with just giving up like the 10th pick or whatever it ends up being, and players that didn't really factor into their long-term plans. We've heard Josh Hart was a little upset with how contract negotiations went last offseason. So they didn't really hurt their future to get CJ either. So, pretty good move for them to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. I don't think CJ is the right player they should have gone after, but in terms of them executing a trade, David Griffin actually did a pretty good job with this, in my opinion.
Yeah. And Josh Hart's a good player, man. Mm-hmm. That's what makes this deal that's what makes me not hate this deal. Is Josh Hart's a solid
we cut him this summer.
Yeah. But honestly, I don't know. Like, you could make the argument that he's a more, I don't know, I feel like maybe
complete.
Just a more complete player than like a Norman Powell. Maybe a better overall player than a Norman Powell. Because he's better at everything than Norman Powell except shooting threes.
He's the best defensive guard we've had in the Dame CJ era.
Yes, agreed. He's shooting 2/3 of his shots come inside the arc, and he's shooting 60% on them. For a 6'5" wing, that's really, really good. He gets to the line 4 times a game. Okay? He's averaging 4 assists per game. He can pass. He's averaging 8 rebounds per game. He's averaging 13.4 points per game. Literally the only flaw in his game is his 3-point shot. He's only shooting 32% from this year, but for his career, he's 34.5%, so hopefully he can get that up to like 35%. And then he's respectable from 3, right? He's a good player. And he's a great third guard. Like, that makes the CJ loss, like, in terms of just talent. CJ's obviously a more talented player, but in terms of fit with like our 3-guard rotation, I don't think that Dame Ant Hart is that much worse than Dame CJ Ant. It's less talented, but it's a much better, much more functional fit.
And it's almost a third of the contract.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, if you're gonna pay Ant, which they're obviously gonna do, then getting a guy like a Josh Hart for $12 million a year, Josh Hart's a phenomenal get in this spot.
Yeah. All right, so XCDub says we have 9 guards now. So think of it this way, right? Dame, Ant, Josh Hart. That's the 3-guard rotation. We don't have Norm, we don't have CJ anymore, so we don't have that. We don't have all those guards, the 4 guards, right? Mm-hmm. Moving forward, Dame, Ant, Josh Hart. So look at it this way now. Bledsoe is not going to be on this team past this season. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is at best probably a backup, but hopefully we're using him in another trade elsewhere, right?
Yeah, and he's he's 6'6". He's like a 2/3.
Right. And
Satoransky, I don't think we're keeping. I don't know if he was counted to the 9 guards.
Yeah, we're either trying to flip Satoransky or he'll be like a buyout candidate after the deadline. So yeah, I don't really count him as a guard. Keon Johnson is a project, so much like Greg Brown, I mean, he's going to get playing time the rest of this season if he can come back healthy. But he's not going to be like someone where we're like, oh, he has to be one of our guard rotations next year. He's probably a couple years away from contributing, so that's not necessarily a move that makes it so we have too many guards or whatever. So yes, if you just look at our roster on paper, we have way too many guards still. But I think it's just those three main ones as the focus of those guards. And now, like always, from the beginning of the Dame and CJ era, we just have to figure out a way to put the right forwards and front court around those guys. So I think we have a good start now. Yeah, we're ready for a good rotation with our guards. Now we just have to fill out the front court, but that was still the same problem, and that's going to be the problem until we get a front court player that's worthy of putting next to Dame and Ant. The Dame and Ant backcourt will have just as much chance of succeeding as the CJ and Dame one did if we don't get that player to put with them. So you either have to get that front court player or it won't succeed in my mind.
Well, I see people in chat like, how we have so many guards, how in the world are we going to get the small forward or power forward we need, yada, yada, yada. The hope for the Portland Trailblazers is extremely obvious. They're hoping that Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith Jr., or Chet Holmgren is in a Blazer uniform next year.
Yep.
Or it's not Jabari Smith. Is it Jabari Smith Jr.?
No, it's not junior.
Why did I think there was a junior? I don't know. His name sounds good.
There's so many, like half the players are junior now.
Yeah, but basically, yeah. The hope is that one of those three guys are in a Blazer uniform next year in the starting four, I think. And then the starting five, it's either they plan on trying to get Miles Turner with this traded player exception or they plan on keeping Nurkic. Okay? So, like, that's what they're hoping the 4-5 is. And then the 3, maybe that's Nas. Maybe that's somebody they trade for. Maybe the Pelicans pick is good enough where you can get, like, an AJ Griffin. Who's honestly, like, I mean, if we could come out with a top 3 pick and AJ Griffin somehow, like this draft is a freaking home run. Like that is the pipe dream. It's going to be hard to get AJ Griffin, but I mean, right now, I mean, there's a drop off after 7, right? Oh. So maybe it's like Benedict Mathurin. Maybe it's somebody like that. Maybe it's a Kendall Brown. Maybe it's a Tari Eason, a defensive guy. You know, with that second pick, you're in play for guys like that. Yeah. So that's where. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted a center, so that's where the Pelicans pick comes into play. So they have avenues. They're not going forward with 9 guards next year.
Sorry, I have some news.
What's that?
The terms of the 2022 New Orleans pick, 1-4 Pelicans, 5-14 goes to Blazers.
Yep.
15-30 goes to Hornets.
Charlotte, yeah.
Blazers get a future first-round pick if it doesn't convey. Hornets get a future second-round picks if it doesn't convey, which has already been determined. But I don't know what that first-round pick is still, but a little more clarification.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we already... Yeah. That's it painted it for the chat. You know, that hopefully makes more sense if anybody was confused.
Well, did it say top 5 protected now? So we have an extra spot now.
What do you mean?
The original report was that it was top 5 protected, right?
No, it was that it goes to the Blazers if it's between 5 and 14.
Okay.
So, it's top 4 protected. Yeah. And they're not going to fall to 5, you know?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I hope.
That'd be awesome.
Imagine if they got, like, that's the dream, is, like, somehow the Pelicans suck the rest of the year and... Dude, Eric, we're now rooting for like 2 teams in the tank race. But you don't want the Pelicans to tank too hard because you don't want them to keep that pick. Like, this is so... Yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting. We haven't had a lottery pick. Well, we traded for the Zach Collins pick, which was 10th. But we haven't, like, legitimately had a lottery pick in a while, and now we could have 2. And now it's like we're watching two teams in the tank race and rooting for outcomes for both. It's so new to me. You know what I mean? Like, that's the rest of the season.
Instead of playoff standings, we're looking at lottery.
We're going to be looking at tankathon.com all season long. But, like, the Pelicans are only Pelicans are... Let me just pull up
They're
Tankathon.
half a game ahead of us.
Yeah, let me just pull this up, actually. Yeah.
So while you're doing that, shout out to Shaggy Squid for another Australian $2 dono. He says, doesn't Hart make Keon's position fit redundant? Like I said, Keon is a long-term project, so I don't think he factors into like a rotation anytime soon. And hopefully he is going to be used as a first-round pick in lieu of a first-round pick in another trade, but yeah.
Yep. So this is the way the tank race looks. I mean, luckily, the Lakers are 4.5 games better than New Orleans, but now at this point, you're rooting for the Clippers, okay? You're rooting for the Timberwolves.
Just to stay ahead of them, yeah.
You're rooting for the Lakers, yeah. I mean, maybe you're not rooting for the Lakers if you hate the Lakers, but you just want the Lakers to stay ahead of New Orleans, right? Because it's like, if New Orleans gets the 10th spot in the play-in and the Lakers are 9th and they have LeBron and AD, I would still take the Lakers in that play-in game. You know what I'm saying? You're also rooting for probably, like, the Knicks, Wizards, Hawks. Like, you're rooting for every team below New Orleans here to be successful, to win games, to stay above New Orleans. You're rooting for San Antonio, okay? Because it would be phenomenal if San Antonio could go on a little bit of a run led by Zach Collins and pass out both Portland and New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Same with Sacramento. Same with, Indiana's tank mode, too. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the picture. We're rooting against New Orleans now. I'm rooting against CJ now. You know, it's kind of weird, but that's just the way it is now.
But not too much.
I mean, CJ can go ahead and pop off, and they can still lose games, right? So that's fingers crossed for that. Anyway, I don't know what point to make next or where to go with this. Tony Snell's gone. That's cool. I'm happy.
Do we have enough players? I know.
We might lose to the Magic tonight.
One of them we traded was hurt and not playing anyway, so I guess that doesn't matter.
Yeah, true.
For whoever asked in chat, Josh Hart is about to turn 27 next month. So just slightly younger than Norman Powell.
Question, would you want the Blazers, if the Blazers could trade this New Orleans pick straight up for Jeremy Grant, how would you feel about that?
I wouldn't like it. I don't want Jeremy Grant. I'd rather take my chances with the pick, but I have a feeling that's going to be kind of what our path is.
It would be CJ for Hart and Grant. CJ and Nance for Hart and Grant.
Yeah,
which would be
I understand the thinking behind that kind of trade. It's just, yeah.
CJ's better than Grant. Like, you gotta at least get a first round pick back with that.
Yeah.
So, CJ, I don't know if CJ has more value than Grant, though. Or I don't know if he had more value than Grant.
Yeah, I don't know. His contract's a little worse, but Grant's expecting an extension this summer, too, so.
I don't want Jeremy Grant. Dude, that's my guts screaming at me that that's what they're going to do.
Well, okay, so then all these people are like, see, we're just trying to be as bad as possible, but if we trade for good players then before the deadline, that makes, once again, the other two trades make less sense, right? Because then you can't even say that about them.
Yeah.
And you can't even say we did the first trade for financial reasons because we saved way more money in this trade than we did in that.
Everything's still going to come down to if the Blazers can get a top 3 pick or not, and then if that rookie can be like a star soon. Everything is going to come down to that.
Dude, our luck. I'm already calling it. We're going to move up to like 5th, and then the 9th pick is going to be the one that moves up, and the 5th pick's going to move down like 2 spots.
Dude, imagine it's like, the Pelicans are next up at 9th, and the Pelicans don't come up.
And they screw us out of getting it because they keep their pick, and then we fall down a spot because they moved up. So instead of 5th, we fall to 6th, and then we don't get their pick this year.
We will have a lottery stream, so that'll be popping. That's never really been popping before this year, Eric.
Yeah.
Didn't we normally do that on Blazers Up Press Live? Because it just doesn't really it's never affected us. This year we're doing the lottery stream on the main channel, okay? Not the second channel. Yeah. I want to know what our second round picks are.
What we're getting. Well, here, I can pretty much figure it out. We got 2, right?
2
second round picks in this deal?
Yeah.
All right, so New Orleans, I'll just go through the picks they have available. Because a lot of their picks are second rounders are tied up in other trades. So they don't have their 2023 second, and their 2022 and 2024 are both tied up in the Charlotte pick protections. So they can't trade any of their own for the next 3 years.
Oh god, so it's like 2020.
Well, hold on.
Something.
And then they have Cleveland's second round pick, but if their pick doesn't convey, the Lakers pick doesn't convey to Memphis, then they owe Cleveland's and New Orleans 2025 to Memphis. So they can't trade their own pick for 2022, 2023, 2024, or 2025. So we're talking 26 through 28 if it's one of their own picks. And then they also own Sacramento's pick protected through 54, so it's not going to convey, so they don't really own Sacramento's pick. If we get that pick back, Cronin's an idiot. On top of other things. So they have Utah's second round pick from this year, so maybe we're getting that. They have a 2024 Chicago second. They have our pick in 2026. Maybe we'll get that back. I think that was the Greg Brown trade, right?
I think so. Oh yeah, did we trade a second in that trade? Yeah, we'll probably get ours.
I bet you we're getting ours back, and I'd say we're getting ours back, and my guess is ours back and the Chicago 2024.
Okay. Yeah, that's not that good, but whatever.
Hey man, we haven't had second round picks in a long time, many of them. So
we do have our second round pick this year too.
Yeah.
So I mean, lots of Eric. I mean, if we keep this,
if we move up to
pick,
like 5th, yeah, we have the 35th pick too.
We're gonna trade this pick for freaking Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
I would bet for that. Compared to betting against that. Like, if I had to pick a side, like, do we keep this Pelicans pick or do we trade it for Jeremy Grant? I would bet that we trade it for Jeremy Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would hope... I mean, like, oh God. Here's the thing. Is like, if the Pelicans somehow make the playoffs, then, like, and we had traded that pick for Jeremy Grant, then it would save the CJ trade from being terrible. It still wouldn't be good, because... it would basically guarantee that, like, the CJ trade was just, like, somewhat bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of potentially being good or really bad.
Yeah.
So...
right.
Grant just isn't Jeremy Grant is just not the freaking answer. He's not. So many people think he's the answer. Jeremy Grant doesn't want to be the number 2 or number 3 guy. He wants to be the number 1 guy on a bad team. He literally proved that when he passed up a $20 million a year 3-year contract with Denver for the same exact contract in Detroit after Denver made the Western Conference Finals. He is overrated defensively, in my opinion. He's hasn't been efficient this year. He's shooting 41% from the field and 34% from 3 this year, Eric. He's shooting 44% from 2 as a freaking power forward.
And he can't rebound, or he doesn't
4.5 rebounds per game. So what is he? Why do people think he's the answer?
Because in the bubble, he guarded LeBron intensely, even though it wasn't even well. He was like in his face, like, you know what I mean? Like Colin Sexton comes in and slaps the floor and gets in people's grill in summer league, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's a good defender," even though he's been terrible defensively since he came in the league. You know, like it's just like for some reason certain players get that. They get that tag on them that they're good defenders, but he has not been a good defender for several years.
Yeah.
And he wants to be the man. And like I said, with Dame and Ant, I mean, he's at best 3rd. If we get a top 3 pick, you don't want Jeremy Grant to hinder or prevent that person from becoming a star. So I just don't understand how that makes any sense, in my opinion.
Yep. Jeremy Grant's not the answer. Miles Turner isn't the answer either. None of the guys that are available for this TPE are the answer. Like, unless, I mean, Dream would be... Okay, let's just play this game. For people that fit into the TPE, Eric, who would you trade this pick for?
I mean, I'd still trade my number 1 option is OG.
Yes, I would trade it for OG Anunoby.
Mm-hmm.
Who else fits?
Well,
I wouldn't trade it for Turner. I wouldn't trade it for Grant.
Sabonis fits.
I wouldn't trade it for Sabonis. He's not a good defender.
Yeah, I could see them doing that as well. But I don't think we have enough compensation because they said they wanted 3 first or the equivalent of 3 first, whereas Miles Turner was 2 first or something. So
yeah.
I'm not trading this pick for Bamba. I wouldn't mind Bamba. Maybe we give up 3 seconds for Bamba or something. I wouldn't mind that, but like I'm not trading this first for a Bamba.
Would you rather? Okay, question. Would you rather have John Collins or Jeremy Grant?
I mean John Collins, but he doesn't fit into the TP. I guess we could maybe get him with Bledsoe. It's close. Yeah, I think Bledsoe works.
See, like if we did this pick in Bledsoe, if we like did this pick in Bledsoe, then well, let me see. Let me look at how much he's making.
Bledsoe's like 18.1, right? And Collins is 23 this year. I think it just works off the top of my head.
Works.
Yeah.
So here's the salary matching rules, guys. If you're below the luxury tax line and you stay below the luxury tax line after the trade, then if you're trading out more than like $6.5 million, you can take back up to $5 million. So if you're in the tax, and we're so used to being in the tax, then you can't take back more than 125%. But if you're below the tax, then it's actually has like looser rules, right? If you're trading $20 million or more, you can only take back 125%. If you're trading like $6.5 to $20 million, you can take back up to $5 million more. So Bledsoe's contract is 18.1, right? Collins is making $23 million. So Bledsoe matches Collins barely, because Bledsoe, you can't combine his salary with other salaries in order to match salary. You have to trade him, straight up as the matching piece and the only matching piece.
We could add another player to that, though.
Yeah, it just can't be combined with Bledsoe's contract in order to match. So Bledsoe has to match Collins on his own, and he does by like $100,000.
maybe Bledsoe and Nikhil Alexander-Walker or something in a first. I still don't know why
It'd be the
Atlanta,
New Orleans first.
or New Orleans first, but I still don't know why Atlanta does that.
I mean, I would rather have Collins than Grant too.
Yeah.
But I'm not enamored. If we traded the pick for Collins, I'd just be kind of like, okay, whatever, man.
NBA Old Boy with Zen Master says, I told you guys not to panic. Anthony is here to bring us to the promised land. Okay, we agree. Anthony's awesome. That doesn't mean we can't get better draft picks in trades for other players to make better players around him. That doesn't. But yeah,
I just can't complain about this.
I have faith in it.
I can't complain about this trade because it's conceivable that this was the best trade on the table. I don't know why they gave up Nance in this deal, and if they gave up Nance so they could trade this pick they got back for frickin' Jeremy Grant, then it's a bad trade. So I'm worried about like the follow-up move, but this trade isn't necessarily bad. I wish they put something in this trade where like we got the Lakers 2022 first if they made the playoffs. Right? Because most likely it would be the Lakers missing the playoffs. So like we would get the Lakers pick instead.
And this is why
I mean, but they don't have it 11 to 14, so that's probably why that's not in there. So go
ahead. If I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I don't know where I was going. Sorry.
It's all good.
Come on, Eric. Yeah, I just completely lost it. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Jay, we got a Raptors fan in here. I think the only way I could see Masai trading OG is if Dame's on the table. You ain't getting Dame for freaking OG, so I mean that's.
I mean, OG's probably a pipe dream. We're not saying that the Raptors would do that, but we're just saying if that was on the table, he fits contract-wise into that. So that's
and we were playing a game of what we would trade the pick for. So yeah, I mean, who else fits?
I mean, pretty much everyone we've targeted outside of Jaylen Brown and Ben Simmons and Siakam.
I thought there was somebody else that we're forgetting, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
So Keon Johnson's not playing for a couple weeks. Go
ahead. Here's back to where I remember my train of thought. This is why you don't make that trade on Friday. You wait until you can combine it with this one, because we possibly could have maneuvered some salary around, some contracts around, if we combine the two trades into getting a bigger TPE. But since we just made these two separate trades, we kind of ruined any chance. Because there might have been a chance we made it big enough to maybe get a Jaylen Brown. But now I think that's it's just frustrating when we made that trade on Friday to make it harder to create a bigger TPE as well.
Oh, I was muted. I think we would have created a $30.8 million TP if we just combined these two trades. So that's annoying. That's annoying. I mean, like, the little things like that, little creative things like that, dude. You gotta do little creative things like that. Because if you're sitting here saying, oh, we got a TP big enough for Jaylen Brown, and we end up with, like, the 9th pick, or we end up with, like, maybe our pick doesn't go top 3, but it's, like, 5th or 6th, right? Then maybe that gets you in the door if they're getting no salary back. But now we have to fully match his salary. So, that's the thing with this front office, is I can, if this is Cronin's deal, like, I don't know. Maybe Cronin wanted to combine them and ownership wouldn't let him. But, like, as a front office, you have to be creative like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to think those things out. So that's what I have a problem with. It's just the execution of little nuanced stuff that I feel like a lot of people, A, don't notice, and then B, like, maybe don't understand.
And we said that on Friday, too. Which this isn't hindsight-based or anything, right? But that was, like, our main problem with that trade is that we kind of ruined any chance of creating a max, basically, TPE. A bigger TPE, I think, than any. I think the Steven Adams, like, 27 million one was the biggest ever or something. Like, that would have been ours. What's the deal with Didi? Isn't he suspended?
Is he?
For the year?
I don't even know. I keep forgetting that we acquired... Dude, I'm not going to... Who's on the team?
But So, since we only... So we have to cut someone, too. And it can't be one of the Pelicans guys. I'm guessing it's going to be Zeller.
It can't be one of the Pelicans? Oh, yeah, we have Cody Zeller.
We can't, you can't cut one of the incoming players. You have to make the trade happen first. Like, you have to clear up the roster spot first. So, unless...
Why did we even have to take back Didi?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but...
This is comical, man. Why did he have to be thrown in? He was just a fourth random minimum contract player that wasn't needed to match anything. I mean, unless they needed to throw him in to, I don't know, create a trade but they're not creating a trade exception.
Okay, he was suspended for violating the anti-drug program.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was for 25 games, so that would be over, but I think he's hurt too. Yeah.
What the hell, man?
Michael Ranella with a $2 donation says Cronin is Terry Stotts if Stotts was a GM. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, unfortunately, can't blame Stotts for any of this. Yeah.
Actually, I do blame Stotts. If only he coached better, we wouldn't have had to go this route, right?
Yeah, maybe.
It's all Stotts. I'm just kidding.
Did we miss any other ones? I can't scroll high enough.
No.
Okay.
Or did you read off the Shaggy Squid one about Keon? Oh, yeah, you did about Hart and Keon.
Yep.
Yeah. Ciao. Eric Holmans, he just donated. $2 dono says, Russ for Dame. What if it happens? What'll never happen? You might as well trade us LeBron for Ben McLemore. If we're talking about extremely unrealistic things. Thank you for the $2 dono, though. Do you want to see like a city burned down to the ground? Then trade Dame for Russ. And
dude, let me just say, if that happened, I don't know if I can do these shows anymore.
Eric, we'd have to like. Honestly, it would maybe a situation where we wouldn't do post game shows for the rest of the year, and then we'd see if we could come back. Like that would ruin everything. Like that, yeah. Oh God.
As much as I've joked in the past about the Lakers, like having to come to grips with whether or not I want the Lakers to win or Dame to like fail in winning a ring, like that would just be the worst possible scenario.
Hey everybody, welcome to Niners Uprise.
Well, it'll just become a college basketball channel.
Oh yeah, I mean, or a general NBA. I wouldn't even want to watch the NBA if that happened, though. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Welcome to our rankings for.
I do want to talk about something that Gavin said. People are saying like Dame doesn't really want to win or whatever if he's okay with rebuilding right now. I mean, is it really that much different? First of all, we have Ant and Nas who were proving to be capable starters. As of this moment, we still have Nurk. Who knows what'll happen with that in the next 2 days? But like we have the pieces there, and if we hit a home run in the draft, which now we might have two chances to hit a lottery pick instead of one, I mean, or possibly hit on both of them, that's, 6 players right there. And then you make a good free agent signing and you use your TPE to fill out your rotation. And then you got like Trendon and some young guys that could develop. I mean, we're not talking about that being worst case scenario any worse than, I mean, we're in 10th spot, right? And we were what, the 6th seed last year, the 8th seed before that. Like, it's not like we were like 3 years ago where we're the 1st seed or the 3rd seed and we're talking about going to the Western Conference Finals. This team has sucked for 3 years pretty much and wasn't going anywhere anyway. So I don't see how the possibility of that roster being better if you put the right pieces around it. I don't see how that option is any worse in Dame's mind than this. And also, I know I've heard from multiple people that, one, Dame didn't want to go this route as the first option, right? He tried everything to get a star to come here. Oh, I use the term star loosely. Like a Jeremy Grant to want to come here this summer on the Olympic team. He tried to lure free agents like Kelly Oubre, who chose to take more money elsewhere, a lot more money. He tried to do a bunch of things. It didn't work. We were never able to trade for that star. And so I think he's looking at Chris Paul, who just went to the finals with a really good second star next to him, and then basically 2 players in Ayton and Bridges who are in their 3rd year. They make a good MLE signing with Jay Crowder. They fill in their roster with basically, spare parts, like a campaign last year. I know he sucked this year, but like last year, he had a really good season and became a good backup, and they had him, on a minimum contract last year. So Dame is looking at him and Ant as the Booker and Chris Paul, and then they just need to find their other players now. But Dame is also like 5 years younger than Chris Paul is, so he's looking at Chris Paul saying, why can't I do this for 5 more years? That gives, like, even if it takes 2 years to get to that point, I'm still younger than Chris Paul is right now and what he's doing. And if Dame comes back fully healthy as well, maybe he feels like he can have some longevity, because, I mean, outside of this ab issue, Dame's been one of the most durable stars in the last like 2 decades in the NBA. So I don't think that's a terrible mindset to have. I don't think that's him not caring about winning or him just taking the money or whatever. I think that's just him thinking that maybe this is the best route. And I think he believes in Ant and Nas. And I think this team does as well. And I mean, that might be, it's going to be hard. No matter what we do, it's going to be really, really, really hard, maybe even impossible to win a championship here in Portland. But I don't know. Like, I'll never fault him for wanting to do it or trying. And I'll never think he's going to just stay here for the money. I don't believe that at all. So yeah. I would give him a chance to prove that he could come back healthy and play with the young guys, and maybe they surprise us because the other ways weren't working, so might as well try a different way. I applaud them for that, I guess. It's just like you said, the execution of that plan. They keep with each trade. I feel like they're, unless we get lucky with this Pelicans pick, we're basically making it harder and harder to put the pieces around him. Now that doesn't mean it's impossible. We could get a top 3 pick. We could get the 7th or 8th or maybe even up to 12th pick and still get a good player. And those 2 players might work out, and then we're talking about this like 2 years from now. Oh, what a great trade we got! Torey Eason, and he's a great defensive small forward next to Damon Ant or whatever. So like, this all has a chance of working out. I just feel like we've kind of, with each move, we kind of be like, it's not quite as possible it was before we made the move. So that's the only thing I'm disappointed about.
Yep. Do we even have any mods in here? No. Jackson's in here. Oh, man. Just anybody saying Dame's gone is getting a 5-minute timeout. I'm not reading that stuff right now. Alright, so mods, anybody saying Dame's gone, 5-minute timeout.
Here too. I don't know if he's paying attention to shit.
Have fun with the banhammer. I'm giving you guys the opportunity. No, it's fine.
Connor's in here too.
Yeah, I'm giving you guys the opportunity to have some fun. All right, anybody trolling, just saying something super negative, just put him in a 5-minute timeout. Not about the trade, but just like Dame's leaving, like crap like that. All right. Like, I do not care. I am just not in the mood. It's too early in the freaking morning. Maybe if they made this trade at like 6 p.m., maybe that'd be fine. But, otherwise. Shout out Gavin Leach, $5 dono, says, thanks for the great talks, guys. Thanks for the $5 dono, Gavin. Glad you're enjoying it. Shout out Chris Brandlin for a $5 dono, says, I'm very disappointed that Murphy was not in this trade. I would have loved to have Murphy in this trade. I'm sad that he's not included either.
Mm-hmm.
Just wish we could have extracted a little bit more value. I love how there's people like tagging me on Twitter. What do you think of this trade? It's like I'm streaming. I'm literally live right now.
Yep. Do you think that Embiid tweet was about Dame?
I don't know.
Embiid tweeted a few minutes ago, time to run.
Yeah.
And Torey told him to F off.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so tired. Like, actually, like, mentally tired. I didn't get enough sleep last night. I'm still pissed that they made this trade this early in the freaking morning. Did I even tweet out this stream? I didn't finish the tweet. I typed the tweet. Maybe I didn't send the tweet. I don't know. Whatever. People still...
On yours, or...?
No, on Blazers Uprise.
No, you did.
Did I? It's not showing up in, like, my tweet notifications or whatever. Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm tripping. See, I'm tired. Here's your proof. I'm tripping.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even know what else to say. We have to wait and see how we go from here. We have to root against the Pelicans. I mean, I've laid it out pretty much. I don't know. I don't really want to sign off with 500 people watching, but I don't know what else to say about this, to be honest.
It's
Watford will start tonight. The starting lineup tonight: Simons, Ellaby.
Are you guessing, or are you?
I'm guessing.
Okay.
Or Simons, Macklemore, Ellaby, Watford, Nurkic, and then off the bench you got Greg Brown, Blevins. Who else do they have? Justice Winslow. And they have one more player that I'm forgetting.
You say Greg Brown?
Yes.
Blevins?
Yes.
Dennis Smith? Hold on.
Oh, Dennis Smith. Yeah. Dennis Smith off the bench. Yeah.
Did you say Macklemore?
No, Dennis Smith was the ninth guy. I said starting lineup: Simons, McLemore, Ellaby, Watford, Nurkic, and then off the bench you got Dennis Smith Jr.,
Well,
Kelvin Bledgens.
I don't know.
Greg
I don't know if
Brown
they'll
and-
start Watford because he'll be the backup center.
and Justice Winslow can be the backup center, Eric.
Chris Joseph says to please beat Orlando. He's got $100 on y'all. You should absolutely not bet on the Blazers. We are trying to lose games. So that's
Yeah, why
Sorry,
would
man.
you do that? Why would you bet $100 on this Blazers team? That is a mistake and a half.
Trevan. Andrew says WTF starting lineup. Ass. Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's the goal.
That's
the point.
the Blazers are in all-out tank mode. They are not trying to win games. I mean, come on. I mean, maybe they'll still win because it's Orlando, but this would be a very nice loss tonight.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
All right, so I have a couple things I want to ask you about.
Okay.
Nurk. 2 days. Is he on the team or not?
That's going to be the trade tomorrow. I don't know. I think I would lean towards he remains on the team.
Yeah. Do you think they let him walk or do you think they re-sign him?
If he stays on the team, I think they re-sign him.
Yeah.
Like, I think he would want to play with Dame and Ant, you know?
Mm-hmm. And, okay, so do you expect, other than Nurkic, is there really any other players we could trade outside of maybe McLemore for a second or something?
I mean, I don't even know if we can get a second for McLemore.
Yeah.
I mean, this front off, I feel like we've shown that we are not going to maximize value, so yeah.
So, okay.
Oh, I just realized I got rec league tonight. I won't have to watch this game. I have an excuse not to, because otherwise I'd watch this freaking game. Oh, I'm happy.
Man, I have rec league too. I might.
Go play basketball, Eric.
All right. Yeah,
we will
could just
fake the post-game show.
We'll just talk about CJ. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So.
And how awesome it was to lose to the Magic.
Yeah. And how good Jalen Suggs hypothetically looked.
So correct me if I'm wrong though, like, I mean, obviously I don't think we're trading Ant or Nas, right? So Nurkic and McLemore would be, outside of players we've acquired and the trade exception and all that, Nurkic and McLemore would be the only possible moves we make with the rest of our roster before these trades. Am I missing anyone that could possibly be moved still?
There's players we traded for. That
I said outside of any of the players we traded.
Outside of that, then yeah. I mean, who else do we have that could be traded? Ellaby has no value. Greg Brown has no value. Watford doesn't have value yet. We're not trading Dame, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'll cross my fingers and I'll knock on wood without uncrossing them, all right? That'll make sure he doesn't get traded, right? Who else do we... Dennis Smith Jr. doesn't have value. I mean, like, none of these guys have value. So... Watford is literally our second most valuable player remaining. Outside of Nurkic and... Well, third. Outside of Nurkic and Dame. So...
I don't know if this is accurate or not. Trevor Williams, rumor but not confirmed from a New Orleans beat writer that there may be a third team involved.
What's the beat writer's name?
Yeah, just put his name in chat, please, so we can vet it. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's Grant or Turner. If there is. But man, I would love to flip Alexander Walker. So for those asking, once again, we've said this many times, but let me just explain this again. So players cannot be combined that we've acquired in the next 2 days to bring back a bigger salary. So let's say Jeremy Grant was a possibility, but we were trying to trade them Nurkic, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Keon Johnson and stuff like that. That doesn't work. But Bledsoe works by himself. You don't have to add a salary to get to the number to get him. So there's ways to trade these players. It just only works for certain players if the salary matches in a normal trade. Then you can add on a Nickeil Alexander-Walker with Bledsoe and a Keon Johnson with Bledsoe, because the trade still works whether you include those guys or not. So if you can do the trade without aggregating the salaries, it works. If you have to include both salaries to make it enough money going out as to match coming in, then it doesn't work. So just keep that in mind with the other moves following up. So it'd be hard for the Blazers now. I mean, outside of Dame, they pretty much can't get anyone making over $23 million. So the John Collins $23 million is like the biggest contract I think they can trade for, right? Because you couldn't combine Nurk with enough salary to do it. You can't combine Bledsoe with any salary. So anyone making $23 million is either for Dame or more is either a Dame trade, or we can't do it until the offseason. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you do Bledsoe plus a minimum contract for Davis Bertans and Rui Hachimura?
Yes. 100%.
With Bertans' ugly-ass contract.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be surprised if we took on salary, but Rui, we need to find a front court, right? We have to find a front court. We have our 3 guards now. We need a front court. So that Rui at least gives us a player we can play for the rest of the season, develop, and has still enough upside to be a starting forward that's capable of changing our ceiling. Who knows if he gets there or not, but at least I could see the vision of doing that. And that's much less than we'd have to give up for a Grant, and we'd still keep our pick and stuff. So we still have – that's the kind of trade I would be looking at. I just don't know if they're going to want to take on salary after they just gave away stuff.
I mean, if it's Bledsoe plus a minimum, that's what, $19.8 million? And then Rui plus Bertans is, what, $20.9?
Mm-hmm.
So they're taking on an extra $1 million, and right now they're like $17 million under the tax.
I'm talking about for future seasons, yeah.
For future seasons.
Because, like, I mean, this year it doesn't matter anymore because we're so far under the we do have our full mid-level exception now. We could use that still.
Yeah. Jeez.
But no, yeah, Rui. I think they dumped CJ and Powell to not have long-term contracts, so I'd be surprised if we took back one. But that's the kind of move I would be looking at for sure. Yeah, that would really.
Okay, so next time there's a report by like Jason Quick coming from a player where it says, the Nurkic report. Oh, I was told that they're going to build around me, Dame, and CJ, and how everybody ran with that. Next time, can we just not believe that, please?
All right, so I don't know if you actually listened to that interview. I know there was an article too, but I listened to the interview, and so he basically said he thought it was basically just Nurk being Nurk, like misinterpreting what they said or whatever. So
yeah,
it was pretty clear he was hedging his bet on that. However, in that same interview, he said that we didn't need to trade anyone to get under the tax because we can just move all our minimum contract guys and do it. So that didn't make any sense. And yeah, obviously he doesn't really understand the cap that much. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure at one point Nurk was told that they weren't planning on being traded, but this is, I mean, CJ never came out and said they were building around them, right? So yeah. And once again, man, thank you to CJ for everything he did for Portland and the Blazers. And yeah, just a great guy. And I think we had to trade him, but it's still kind of bittersweet that we're moving on from him. And I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope his time in New Orleans works out for him, and but not too much because we need that pick. And I hope his whole situation with just having a baby and stuff that doesn't get too messed up by having to move to another city. So thank you, CJ, for all you did for Portland, and we wish you the best.
Yep, I mean, he'll still have his vineyard up here. He'll probably still come up here in the off season.
I wonder if he'll retire he'll come back here when he retires.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like the type of guy to enjoy like this area. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, he's going into a situation where he can be the lead guard for the first time in his career. He's going into a situation with a younger team where he can kind of be the veteran like mentor. It's going to be cool to see how CJ handles that situation, how he plays. You know what I mean? I feel like the fans that underappreciated him are going to start to appreciate him when he starts out. Like, I have a feeling he's going to start averaging like an efficient 24 a game with like 5 assists.
Mm-hmm.
And fans are going to be like, dang, we could use that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't know. I mean, not the guard aspect of that, but the dude is a talented player, and he got a bad rap here in Portland due to something that wasn't really his fault. You know, and people started to underestimate him simply because we had Dame. So it's going to be cool to see what he does in this situation. And hopefully this is something that he wanted. You know, hopefully he wanted a different situation, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like, I know he liked it here in Portland, but I hope that it's not, you know, something that is too tough on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Michael Ranella, that is incorrect. Lillard actually had some good games in that series, so to say he did nothing, go check Game 6. Lillard had like 30 points in Game 6, so please lose me with that. But CJ was good in that Game 7, man. He definitely carried us in that game. And the broken back was in the bubble, not the Western Conference Finals year, so you're off on that as well.
Yeah. The thing is with the TPE also, they could try and sign and trade for somebody this offseason.
Yeah.
They could offer somebody $20 million or $20.8 million their first year, right? And then sort it out with the team. Like, okay, you guys get nothing and we'll give you 2 second-round picks or whatever. If it's a Eastern Conference team that's going to lose the player for nothing, I don't see why they don't do that. Or maybe you throwing Keon Johnson their way if they want a young player. Alexander Williams or something like that.
Walker.
Or did I say Alexander Williams?
Yeah. Sorry.
I warned people at the start of the stream that I was going to mess up a lot of things because I'm tired. But yeah, and then dude, I don't want to say his entire last name. He better not be on the team because I don't even... Nikhil. I'm just going to start calling him Nikhil because I'm not about to say Alexander Walker like over and over again. Dude, they just say N-A-W. That's like as many syllables though, you know? So Nikhil, that's what I'm going to call him. Nick. That's my name for him, Nick. Okay? Now you guys know who I'm talking about. If anybody questions it on the post-game stream tonight, then they weren't here or they didn't watch back the stream once they woke up. So, that's on them. It's Nick. Anyway, I don't know who we could get for that $20 million in free agency, but it could be a situation where we could sign and trade for somebody with the TP. right? And then maybe we still have enough room under to use our full mid-level exception. That's why, like, chasing cap space, we don't have enough cap space anyway. You know what I mean?
Well,
it makes more sense to just...
if we trade a Nurk in the next 2 days, then you're looking at probably having to go after a center in free agency. So I don't know who that would be, but just some names off the top of my head is like Mitchell Robinson, a Nicholas Claxton, or a Mo Bamba, who you might have to overpay because he's a restricted free agent. The same with Claxton, but like those kind of guys, I wouldn't pay any of those guys $20 million, but we probably need to use part of that to try and get a center. I don't think that's enough for Ayton. Obviously, he's expecting him back, so I don't know how we'd get to Ayton unless it's. I guess we could do a sign and trade, but we don't have a lot of salary to go back anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's just an option. But I think we're going to rope in a third team into this trade because somebody just quoted it in chat. Where did I see that? Tweet via Christian Clark is this. Thank you for citing the source, Trevor Williams. Says, my understanding is this deal is not yet done. There's a possibility a third team could get looped in prior to Thursday's trade deadline. Which, okay, let's just go back to the trade machine, alright? Because I want to see, like, if we get a traded player exception, if we, like, loop in Grant into this trade. Jeremy Grant, honestly, Eric, in my mind, Jeremy Grant is a Blazer. in my mind.
Man.
I've accepted that Jeremy Grant's a Blazer.
This is going to be crazy, but I'd rather get Kendrick Williams.
Like, straight up, you'd rather have Kendrick Williams?
Yeah. He makes $2 million next year.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, what role is Jeremy Grant going to have? He's not going to be a 20-point-per-game scorer. And
Kendrick wouldn't block the our top 3 pick if we get that. He's like basically a...
He's not a better player, but he's better in that role.
He's a small forward, power forward version of Larry Nance who's like a power forward center type, you know? Like I think,
but he can shoot better.
He can shoot better. He can pass.
People aren't gonna like that take. That's a really hot take, Eric.
He can play defense.
They're not ready for that conversation.
But man, if we could flip like a Nickeil Alexander-Walker for him instead of giving up that first.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We just, dude, like, for some reason people talk about Nickeil Alexander-Walker like he's like a piece that teams want. So hopefully he's a piece that teams want, you know? Because I don't want him on my team. No way.
But yeah, I would like that because he's, like I said, he's on a really good contract, and that lines up with preserving cap space, right? If we're like keeping options open, we wouldn't have to waste that TPE now. We wouldn't have to give up our pick that we just got. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna use the like Lakers pick. That's just the Pelicans' first round pick this year that they're trading us, basically. I mean, like this.
It's not on the screen.
Oh, it's not? Oh, well, let me put it on the screen. Should be on the screen. All right, cool. There it is. Bang. Boom. So. Yeah, this is what a 3-team trade could look like. And we get a 10-point... No, we get a... What type of TPE do we get? If we did... Yeah.
It's about 10 either way you do it, yeah, because...
Yeah.
Because...
10.8
Nance could match Grant or Hart, but... man, maybe if we threw in another small contract or something to the...
A minimum wouldn't...
Yeah,
a minimum wouldn't get it, because it'd be
nope.
3.4 plus 10.6. That would be 14, not 15. So...
Yeah, you forgot Dido.
Oh, yeah, Why is he even in this trade? What is he doing in this trade, dude?
No idea. One Fast Mech says, do you think Billups has a solidified position for the future? I do believe so, yes. He definitely... he signed a 4-year deal with a team option for the 5th year. With how cheap this franchise is, there's zero chance we're getting rid of Billups outside of something concrete about his past coming out that is not just a rumor or whatever. Like, if something came out, then maybe, but outside of that, a reason to fire him with cause like Olshey, there is no chance of us getting rid of Billups with how cheap our organization is, and I don't think we should either. I think he's the perfect coach for a rebuild like this.
Okay, if we're really going to trade for Jeremy Grant, fingers crossed that it's this.
Yeah. And we
at that point, then I say the CJ trade is... Would you say the CJ trade would be good, or...
Yeah, this is the only way that can save it, but if there's no chance we're not giving up that first.
Bro, what if they think Keon Johnson is the athlete and lob target they need playing next to their playmaker, Cade Cunningham? And Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a future 3-and-D stud.
Silent Wavy keeps talking about Robert Williams in chat. I don't know why Boston... Any rumors that he's being traded, I think are not true. Obviously, if he is available, that would be a good pickup as a long-term center if we move on from Nurkic. But yeah, I just don't think he's available. But he's a guy who does fit into the trade or the...
We could take... Actually, honestly, I think Snell for Dede is in this trade, Eric. Because, like, why are they swapping Dede for Snell, right? Like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they want Snell more, but did we really have to do that? Like, why? The reason why we're trading Snell is so that... Nance already matches Walker and Hart, though.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Maybe David Griffin and Joe Cronin didn't realize that you didn't have to match on minimum contracts.
Well, I'm just thinking for the TPE, like,
I know. I'm just making a joke.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. But be prepared. I don't want Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I don't want Eric Bledsoe. I don't want Justice Winslow, dude. I don't want those 3 guys. Anybody else, whatever. Anybody else that we've gotten, whatever. Like, Satoransky sucks this year. He was solid last year, so maybe he can get... I don't know. He's just...
Well, he's a expiring contract anyway. There's no chance. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, be prepared for this. Be prepared for this. Still doesn't make sense why we traded Norman Rocco for that freaking package. Because we still saved $10 million. So, that's why be prepared for this. And I won't be happy with trading this pick for Jeremy Grant. If this is Keon Johnson, and if we get this pick, and then like Keon Johnson's getting traded to the Pistons, then I would be a lot happier, because I think that's A, better for us in this trade. B, it would maybe slightly justify the first trade.
Mm-hmm.
So, C, like, we got Josh Hart now. Keon Johnson, we don't need Keon Johnson, man.
Well, yeah, to me, because you heard all those things, Keon Johnson was the 21st pick in the last draft. He is in place of a first round pick. But like, okay, well, unless you can flip him as a first round pick value, then he doesn't have first round pick value, right?
Exactly.
So first round pick, if we would have gotten that instead of Keon Johnson from the Clippers, that actually does have a first round pick value, because it is literally a first round pick. So we could have, so if we don't do something with him, I agree that is one of the only ways to save that first trade.
Yep. There's Miles Turner in the deal. Like,
DJ Vega, that is incorrect. New Orleans has 2 picks. One of them is the Lakers pick, which they keep if it's 1 through 10, and they give to the Memphis Grizzlies if it's 11 through 30. And the pick they traded us is their own pick, which they keep if it's 1 through 4. It goes to us if it's 5 through 14, and it goes to the Hornets if it's 15 to 30. So that's how it works. And then if we do not get that pick, then apparently we get a future first-round pick. There has not been any details on what that pick is as of the last time I checked.
Oh, I got the perfect lottery sim, Eric. The 1st and 9th picks.
Nice. That'd be cool.
The draft stream is going to be popping this year. And there you would take Jabari Smith. I would maybe take Jabari Smith. I'm not as decisive on that. And then at 9th, let's just see who they have as their mock draft. At 9th, out of Mathurin, I assume you wouldn't take like a Ty Washington, right?
No, I don't think unless a Johnny Davis falls, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, let's say Smith, Holmgren, Banchero, Ivy, Sharp, Johnny Davis, AJ Griffin, and Keegan Murray are drafted. Who would you take at 9?
That's tough. Like just hearing that like that in that way. So we took Jabari Smith. I'm probably taking, which I don't know if we have Nurk or not, so maybe Duren, but probably I might take Tari Eason there and just get that lockdown defender.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, at that point, I'm starting to worry about shooting, though.
Yeah, but like Jabari Smith could be a good shooter. You have Ant Dame. I think having one person, but
yeah, I mean, Tari Eason would be solid.
And so you have potentially. I mean, Nas is still in the picture too, but between Nas, Tari, and Jabari, you'd have 3 guys that have the potential to be your starting 2 forwards for 10 years.
Yep. Shout to M. Alam, $5 dono. Appreciate it. Says, end of an era, and I know we are all feeling it. Really appreciate you guys. You have been amazing and part of my family dinners all the way in New York City. Good to hear it, man. I don't know how often you're in chat, man, but if this is like the first time that we've been able to interact with you, it's good to meet you. And glad we can be a part of your family dinners. I'm glad you can, I'm glad I'm on your TV or your phone while you're eating whatever you're eating, man. That's cool.
Say hello to the rest of your family from us.
Yes, hi. Appreciate the dono.
Not that it's dinner time right now.
It's breakfast time. I'm still tired, bro. Priest, $5 dono, says, imagine Zach Collins and Spurs make play-in over Pelicans. We get 1st and 5th pick with lottery luck.
The 5th pick is not a pick that teams move into, so it would be the worst team that doesn't move into the top 4 would get the 5th pick. So it's almost 0 chance of it being the 5th pick unless the Pelicans fall to 5 or lower on their own, which I don't think is happening.
But I'm just going to say this now. In your mind, you should accept that this pick is being traded for Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
In your mind, you should accept that. All right?
Or Miles Turner.
Like, I don't know how I can make it more obvious, but in your mind, you should accept that. And Satoransky, I just put the trade up on the screen. Satoransky would go to Detroit. Maybe they would get Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I don't care to have Nickeil Alexander-Walker at all. And then we'd get Jeremy Grant. They'd get this Pelicans pick. Accept that.
Yeah, it sucks. Because I'm actually excited if we get 2 top 10 picks.
Dude, imagine the draft.
I mean, like,
the
I know I
coverage and-
just mentioned some names, but there's a ton of players that are very intriguing in that range. Especially if we get up just a couple more spots somehow. Maybe we combine our early second to move up a couple spots and we somehow get like an AJ Griffin and Jabari, man. That would be,
Yeah.
or Chet and AJ Griffin or something. Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I'm praying for? I'm praying that we flip Nickeil Alexander-Walker in like 2 seconds to the Hornets for PJ Washington.
I don't know why they want another guard either, but
Hey, he's a 3, right?
Kinda.
He's 6'6" with what's his standing? I don't know what his standing reach is.
I got you.
Let's see who wins. 8'5" standing reach. His standing reach is lower than Norman Powell's. His NBA comparison on NBADraft.net, Eric? Spencer Dinwiddie / Jordan Clarkson. And you called out that comparison earlier. Yeah, I don't want him on this team, man. I just don't. Nothing personal. I just don't think he's a good player.
.6'9" wingspan, not bad.
Yeah.
Rahi asks, is it possible to flip Bledsoe for Bertans on a protected first because his contract's so bad? It's possible for sure. As we talked about this earlier, instead of a first, maybe Rui Hachimura instead. I would definitely do that or look into that if I was the Blazers, but from everything I'm hearing, they're looking to clear future money off their books and want to pay Dame and Ant. So I don't know if they would then turn around and take on long-term money unless that first somehow leads to a Jeremy Grant or I mean, I don't know why a team would want Bertans over Bledsoe, but just for contract-wise, but maybe if you attached Bertans in the 2 first, but then we might as well just do Bledsoe and the Pelicans first, and one of the young guys, either Alexander Walker or Keon. So I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, Rui, PJ Washington, be down for either of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Better not just be... Dude, if the rest of this deadline is just, like, flipping this pick for Jeremy Grant, I'm going to be so disappointed. If that's, like, all we do. If we do that...
And we keep Alexander Walker.
Yeah. If we do that, but then we, like, buy low on, like, a Rui or a PJ Washington, then it's, like... Okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit easier to digest.
Well, too, I mean, a Rui or a PJ Washington, what's cool about those options is those are guys you could play the rest of the season, and they don't necessarily mean you're any worse off for your tank, right? But you can kind of develop them this season, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brendan, we did do that earlier. Basically, super inefficient scorer. Yeah. Average defender at best. Yeah, Or talk about Nickeil Alexander-Walker, why we don't like him.
Yep.
Not a good shooter.
Yep.
Inconsistent, streaky, inefficient.
He's somebody people always like tossed out there, and it's like, I don't want him. I've never want. There's always been a guy where I'm just like, no.
I mean, he can create a shot, I guess, but he's...
Well, if you can create your shot, what does it matter if you don't make your shot? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, I don't know if guards that can't shoot are the poison in the NBA because Josh Hart is still very effective, even though he's not the greatest 3-point shooter. I mean, he's not awful, I guess, but yeah, he's he does enough other things to be useful. So I like him as a rotational piece moving forward. But yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to stay away. Jonathan says, literally just woke up, but how do we feel about the trade? TBD.
Yeah. Ask us again in 2 days, because right now it's probably a C to C minus. And it makes the other trade for sure F minus. The other trade can't be any worse unless Keon is used as a first round pick in another trade. But as of right now, F minus for the other trade, C for this one probably.
But if we if we did this to go out and get Jeremy Grant and we turn if we send Keon Johnson to the Pistons and that's good enough somehow for them to give up Jeremy Grant and we get this Pelicans pick, then the Clippers trade becomes like a C minus and this trade becomes like a B.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
but that's the only way to save it is if somehow there's such a good follow-up move that it made sense for the other trades.
I pray, because if you're just tuning in, I've said this, but you should mentally accept that Jeremy Grant is a Blazer. All right? It might not happen, but I am at the point where I've mentally accepted that Jeremy Grant is a Blazer.
I mean, think about it this way. There's a lot of people that would be excited about that, so I don't think they have to mentally accept it.
I mean, well, I'm just saying, like, for better or worse. Like, just be ready for Jeremy Grant. Like, yeah. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I would say it's greater than a 50% chance that the Detroit gets roped in as a third team in this deal. And either this Pelicans pick that got traded to us goes their way, or hopefully we keep this Pelicans pick and Keon Johnson goes their way.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they want Nickeil Alexander-Walker, too. Because, like, dude, I don't know. Like, Nickeil Alexander-Walker sucks, but he's talked about like he has value.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm praying that, like, Keon Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker are good enough for them.
Yeah.
That's the... yeah.
Well, it's kind of like what we talked about Bledsoe. Just got to find someone who actually thinks he's a useful player or something, or that would be willing to give you like an expiring contract in a second. Or
if we just did Bledsoe for Bertans and Rui or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and like maybe we had to give up 2 seconds or whatever, and then we kept the Pelicans pick and got Grant. I mean, like, there's still possible... It's still possible for the Blazers to get a B, believe it or not, from this trade deadline. I just don't trust them to make good enough moves to get a B. I don't trust them to be able to pull off the right moves. I'm trying to look if there was like a tie between the Pistons and Keon Johnson around draft time.
We're way too hard on combo guys, says Terrence Alexander.
What does that mean?
I don't know. We both like Josh Hart. He's a combo guy.
Yeah. We like Simons. Yeah, I can't find anything like tying Keon Johnson to the Pistons around draft time.
Kyle Neely, we do not want Jeremy Grant. I don't know why you say, are you guys forgetting Grant wants a max? Doesn't make any sense to bring him in. We're just predicting that that's what's going to happen. Not that we want that to happen. Both of us would rather keep the picks and build that way.
Don't bring up Stephen A. Smith in chat. He's literally an entertainer. That's it.
We don't know why Larry Nance was given up except for to create a bigger trade exception, which Jeremy Grant, Miles Turner, players like that fit into.
Or to keep us under the tax if it's a 3-team trade. Kyle Neely, I'm bringing it up because I'm expecting it to happen. Like, Blazers have wanted Grant. Dame supposedly wanted to recruit Grant in the Olympics. Like, I don't know. Like, this deal just makes so much sense for Jeremy Grant to be the third team in this trade. Maybe it's Miles Turner, but we have Nurkic. So what are we going to do with Nurkic? Does it make sense to, like... Dude, that would be even worse, Eric, if we traded Nurkic for, like, a freaking second-round pick and then traded this Pelicans first for Miles Turner.
Yeah.
That would be, like... That would make this trade an F. That would make this trade an F if we did that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get nothing. Basically, you turn CJ into Miles Turner, and that's it. Just so that you can get nothing for Nurkic. So you basically trade CJ in order to switch out Nurkic for Miles Turner. That's a horrible idea. That's like, yeah. That's... I'm afraid of that, honestly.
Would you trade Nurk for PJ Washington and an expiring contract like Ish Smith?
Just to trade CJ into Miles Turner? No, I don't want to do. I don't want to do that. I'd rather have Jeremy Grant and Nurkic than, like, PJ Washington and Miles Turner. What about you?
That's tough. Like, I mean, if we had a younger long-term replacement at center, but I still think Nurk has value to this team. I still think Nurk is more valuable to us than in a trade, but...
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm hoping we keep Nurkic and re-sign him, because we're not going to get enough value back for him, and we're not in a position where we can lose asset value at all because of that initial trade. We cannot lose asset value. Like, it's so trading Nurkic for a second, trading Nurkic for no value, we lose asset value. Just so that we can turn CJ into Miles Turner. Is CJ and Nurkic for Miles Turner? That's a freaking L. That's a huge L. Throwing PJ Washington into that, I don't think makes that up. Like, I think out of those four players, PJ Washington's the worst player. And he's fine, like, he can shoot. He's not a bad player. Just out of those four, I would take him last.
All right, for the people trashing Nurk, he is unquestionably top 5 in terms of screen setting in the NBA. And then, I mean, there's a reason why Nurk and Dame, and now Ant and Nurk have such good pick and roll, why he frees up the guards to score so many points. And number 2, he's, I mean, probably top 10 in terms of at least defensive rebounding in the NBA. So, and I think he's also underrated defensively because of how bad our overall defense is. But if we now we have players like Josh Hart and stuff, we're getting players that are better on the perimeter, which will make Nurk a better defender. But I mean, I understand the attitude issues and the finishing issues, but even with those, he's not completely worthless. He has a lot of useful skills that help this team out. Can keep him happy, but I understand that some people don't want to have to baby him or whatever. Like, that's fine too. Like, I understand those points. It's just he is a good defender. He is a good screen setter, and he can rebound, which is a lot more than a lot of other centers in the league.
But I'm kind of sad that Nance is getting traded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We
he
haven't
was
really
so
talked
cool.
about that.
Yeah. I like the attitude he came in with.
Yeah, nah. I mean, didn't even really get a chance to like embrace him at all. It's just like he's gone immediately. I mean, it was,
Well,
what, August? It's 6 months.
yeah.
He's here 6 months.
Someone in chat earlier said it would have been weird if you told us when he had that little minor injury that would be his last game he played.
Be right, but
yeah. Kyle asked how much you think Nurk will ask for next season. I think he'll ask for somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 to 20 million. I think his market value is probably closer to 10 in this particular free agency, with not a lot of teams either needing a center or having the cap space to sign him for more than the mid-level exception. So I think we'll probably compromise somewhere in the middle, in the $14-15 million range eventually if we keep him, which I think is pretty fair. I don't think that's bad. I just wouldn't do 4 years. I'd probably do 2 or 3 year, maybe with the team option on the third year. So yeah, somewhere in that range. And I don't think that's that bad of a contract.
oh, I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah, I agree with Rahi. It doesn't make sense that we included Nance to not get Murphy in the deal. Because at least then we could say we have a potential young 3-and-D power forward that could fit in there. Yeah.
How good? Okay, hypothetically, how good would a Dame, Simons, Grant, Jabari Smith, Nurkic lineup be next year?
I mean, it's tough projecting a rookie, but if Jabari Smith was the best possible version of himself, I would say pretty dang good. Probably not first year, but second or third year. I think we're talking at least second, maybe even Western Conference Finals type run, depending on how we fill out the bench, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's just going to come down to
I don't like Grant at the small forward.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. But maybe we go maybe our plan is like Cleveland Cavaliers 2.0 with Chet and Nurkic as like our Mobley and Allen, and then Jeremy Grant is our Laurie Markkinen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rahi, we talked about that earlier. Definitely think OG would be a much better fit in that lineup. If we had that lineup, I think we're at least
if
a
we
Western
flip this
Conference.
pick for OG somehow, I would be ecstatic. You guys would see joy from me for the first time in months.
What if it's Nurk and the pick for OG?
Ooh.
Because they are interested in Nurk, right?
Ooh. Now I see, like, I wouldn't hate it.
And maybe we take Dragic because I think he would fit in the trade. I mean, obviously we lose the trade exception, but
let's just throw this idea up there. Okay, let's talk about a positive hypothetical. Okay.
I think that's the only. I mean, it sucks, but I think I'm happy with that.
So if we did, Nurkic, where's Nurkic? I mean, it makes sense why we'd have to include Nance, like if we took back Dragic or whatever. And then they'd get a huge TPE. And then, so like... and then Saturday...
Sorry, Benjamin, we're not trying to get hopes up, but...
Because we couldn't take Saturansky, so it'd have to be like that. What? What do you mean this doesn't work? Oh, I forgot frickin' Alexander Walker. They have a TP for Alexander Walker. And he's Canadian, Eric. It's happening. We're getting OG. Dude, imagine if like this channel comes full circle with us getting OG, if you know what I mean.
And a new boy. Yeah.
I mean, so like this would be dope.
Man, yeah, Hart and OG for CJ and Nance. I mean,
CJ, Nance, Nurkic for OG and Hart. Yeah.
I mean, it's still a lot to give up, but if we got a top 3 pick and then you're talking about Dame, Ant, OG at the 1, 2, 3, and then you have either Jabari, Banchero, or Chet at the 4, and then you just have to find your long-term 5, I guess. But
yeah,
there are some ways, because we still have our high second-round pick, and there's some centers in the late first, early second that
are solid.
Are okay. I mean, probably not as a starter, but
as a backup.
As
I think
a backup,
that could be a backup right away. And then free agency, MLE, you just go after your center, and then off the bench you have Josh Hart, you have Nas, you have maybe Watford in the rotation. I don't know.
We'd have our MLE. We'd have our MLE too to fill out.
Well, that would be for the starting center, right?
Yeah.
The MLE would be for the starting center. You could use the biannual for.
Sabonis got traded.
What?
To who? Is this a Woj or a Shams?
The Pacers are trading Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and What? He said Jeremy Lamb twice. What? This is from Woj's account. The Pacers are trading Domas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Jeremy Lamb to Sacramento for Tyrese Haliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson.
Holy crap. The Pacers got Haliburton?
It's Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday. The Pacers got Haliburton. I forgot I still have my screen up. Anyway. There. You guys have the proof.
Wow. It's Justin Holiday.
Yes.
You said?
Yes.
I'm going to check Shams, see if he has anything. Nope, nothing yet from Shams.
Should I change the stream title? This is like our trade deadline stream, I guess.
I know, it's going to be... Dang, man, I kind of like it for both teams, although I would have traded Fox over Haliburton.
Yes.
Yes. I thought... Yeah. Oh, man. Oh.
Alright, well, I guess we can talk about that.
Yeah. Remember a few streams ago when I said if players get traded to a team that doesn't make a lot of sense, that don't seem available, maybe they become available?
Oh, yeah?
Is there any way we can get Haliburton?
I mean, we got Ant and Dame. I know. I love Haliburton, and you love Haliburton. I would love to get Haliburton, man, but I don't see why they wouldn't value Haliburton, considering they just trade Sabonis for Haliburton, basically.
I don't know if they trade Turner now, so that option's probably off.
Well, this is... I like that for Indiana. That's a good trade. Good for them.
You know what? Even though I like Haliburton, I kind of like Sacramento flipping one of their guards to get a really good front court player.
And they finally got rid of Buddy Hield.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like it for both teams.
Buddy Hield's gonna be the third piece in our trade.
Like I said, I would have. Yeah, we need another guard, of course. Oh man, if we get roped into this trade and we're like, for a second, we're like, are we getting Haliburton? And then we get Buddy Hield and stuff. Oh man. But no, yeah. The Kings obviously had 4 guards too, kind of like us. They had to move one of them, so to get a all-star, fringe all-star player who's been an all-star before in Sabonis, who's still really young and on a great contract, I think that's pretty good. I think Holiday's either 1 or 2 more years at $6 million or so that's a good contract, even though the political side of it might not be great, but. And then Jeremy Lamb's an expiring, so they don't really take on any money there. Get out of some future money.
Mills Woj just woke up. Well, the league's on fire.
Welcome. And then, so they get Sabonis. I wonder if that means they'll maybe be moving on from Richaun Holmes. I haven't really talked about that, but Richaun Holmes, if we traded Nurk, might be a cheap. I don't know how much value he has in a trade, but that might be a guy we go after.
Yeah. On trade deadline morning, we're going to grade. So, obviously, deals are popping off now. We're going to have a trade deadline stream on trade deadline day. We're going to start in the morning at like 8 a.m. So I guess I'm just going to keep waking up at 8 a.m. My hair is still crazy. Yeah, I got fresh out of bed for this. So we're going to have a trade deadline stream. I should have been plugging this throughout the stream. But trade deadline stream on Thursday, going live like 8 a.m. in the morning Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern
About
time.
the same time we went live this morning.
Yes. And so, like, early on, it might be kind of dead, especially since a couple of targets obviously just got traded. So, early on, we're going to grade trades and kind of talk about some of these deals, including this Pacers one, right, Eric? And I'm going to have a graphic for, like, grading trades. In chat, you guys will have a poll, and you guys will be able to grade trades as well. So, trade deadline day, we'll still have some fun stuff. Even if, you have a couple deals popping off right now, we'll grade them, give Portland a grade, see what their third team is in this deal that they're supposedly potentially looking at. Yeah, but I like this for Indiana. I really like Haliburton.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Haliburton. I wonder if
Brogdon is a good.
Yeah, I wonder if they keep Turner now. This might mean they keep Turner.
Yeah. Well, that was always the rumor that they were going to trade one of the two, not both. But who knows? Because I think they're in a very. This is why this trade is good for them. They are having a power struggle right now between the owner and coach. I forgot their owner's name, but their coach is obviously Rick Carlisle, who absolutely want nothing to do with rebuild and picks and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. And their GM and president of basketball operations, who Blazer fans should know very well, Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan, those guys obviously know that this team was not going anywhere and they needed to rebuild or get different players or younger assets. So I think Haliburton is the best possible case for them because he's a young player, so he fits with a rebuild, but he's also good enough to maybe up their ceiling of the team they have now, so it keeps everyone happy. Like, the owner is happy because they get a good player. Carlisle will have a good weapon to use now, and they don't just trade all their players for future picks, and who knows what's going to happen, right? So I think that's a good move for them. I think he fits really well on their roster because they don't really have a true point guard, so he can kind of take over those responsibilities. I mean, a true starting point guard. I know they have like TJ McConnell and players like that, but and then you look at Sacramento going for a like Fox Sabonis type pairing. I don't know how good that's going to be, but that's certainly. If I'm a Kings fan, I'm a little disappointed I gave up Haliburton, but I'm also kind of happy that we didn't just sit there and waste our 4 guards. We actually turned it into a useful player. So,
who are they going to start at the shooting guard spot, though?
I think they might start Mitchell.
Mitchell, Fox, Barnes.
I don't know if they'll play Sabonis and Holmes together.
Harkless.
They've been playing Metu sometimes at the 4.
There's no shooting in that lineup.
Yeah.
That's why I would have liked Haliburton's a little better playing off the ball too.
Oh yeah,
I would have liked Haliburton with Sabonis better than.
I forgot they had. I forgot the Pacers had Duarte too. That's Hallie and Duarte is a pretty good backcourt of the future too. They can't trade Brogdon this year, so he's stuck on the roster. But they probably just set him the rest of the year with his Achilles issue.
Yeah.
But
I wonder how Pacers fans feel about this trade. I wonder how both these fan bases feel about this trade. If we have any Pacers or Kings fans in the chat, let us know how you feel about this trade.
Is it Christian de facto Kings fan or something?
Apparently he's a Clippers fan too. I don't know. He's hopping all across the bandwagons. I don't think the Kings topped us for worst trade at all. They got back the best player, right? So
actually, this trade actually makes them better this year. That helps us.
Yeah.
Because
I think they need to trade Holmes for something that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
But maybe they can catch New Orleans.
They can stay. Yeah, if they can catch New Orleans or.
But why are we even caring about this pick? Because it's probably gonna get traded. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know. If we keep this pick, this is a good trade for us.
Yeah. Because the Kings were obviously going for it this year. But Sabonis, obviously, I think his defense is a little underrated. He's not good, but he's not like a sieve either on that end. So, like, he's fine. I just think, like, when you're talking with, like, Dame and CJ, I don't know if he would have been a good big to have on our team. But I think you could do some things there, especially when you have such a good defender in Davion Mitchell. So, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll have my thoughts on this on trade deadline morning. More collected, and I'll have a grade for it. So definitely tune in with us. It's always a fun stream. I'm going to, DoorDash some freaking pancakes. We're going to maybe get Gabe on early in the morning when things are kind of dead, Eric, just to, liven things up.
Yeah.
And if the Sixers pull off a trade, might get Romp in, might have a couple guests throughout the stream. Gonna have a special graphics package and all that, so it should be fun.
Mom, yes, Korik has come up here at least 5 times, so we're good. Thanks. I'm here with my youngest daughter this morning, but she's been in and out of the room, so yeah, she's good. I have a 3rd grader who's in school right now, so perfect timing for that.
Why do the Hawks care about us trading 2 key players away? I don't understand that, AJ. So I don't know, man. Tune in for our trade deadline stream because I was not ready for another. I was about to sign off, Eric, and I was not ready for this thing to drop. So good for the Pacers. Kind of questionable for the Kings, but I wouldn't say it's bad. This is a trade that makes sense for both teams.
Mm-hmm. Pacers are including a 2nd round pick in 2027.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good trade without any picks. See, I thought like a Fox for Sabonis and Lamb or whoever's contract you wanted to work in there would have been a decent trade, But yeah, I kind of like this better for the Pacers. Maybe. Yeah.
Did you cut off your train of thought like you read something?
Well, no, I was just
new.
spamming a chat by Simon Lee. Yeah, so yeah, it's if I'm the Kings, I would have rather traded Fox, but maybe he didn't have as much value. But I think having if you would have had Sabonis on a really good contract and you still had Haliburton on his rookie deal for 2 more years after this one, I think that would have been the best possible case for Sacramento. But overall, I don't think this was horrible, but I am surprised they gave up Haliburton in this trade. And the rumors were true, I guess, that he was available.
Yeah. Yeah. If Indiana gets a top 3 pick, they're going to be interesting next year. If they keep Turner, imagine if they had like Chet and Turner as the bigs. 3-and-D, rim protecting, shot blocking bigs, and you have like Haliburton and Duarte. Like, that's kind of a fun team. It's not a playoff team, but it's a fun team. Like, that's something that I feel like Pacers fans could get behind and enjoy compared to what they've had to deal with the last couple years. Where it's just like, this team has no excitement. It's not going anywhere. Like, we're playing 2 centers. So I feel like Pacers fans would actually be happy with this. You know, it sucks to trade Sabonis. You know, like your best player, it always sucks to part with them, but you know, it's not like Sabonis is entrenched there like Dame is here. So I think they like it. I mean, they get Buddy Hield back. I don't know. I mean, maybe next year Buddy Hield off the bench. I don't know what their plan is long term. I don't really see how Buddy Hield fits it.
Some of that they could easily reflip, you'd think, though.
Yeah, like I could see them flipping Hield.
Oh yeah, Justin Holiday could start for Sacramento and Barnes at the 4.
I guess, yeah. Yeah. Dame apparently posted something. I don't know what.
Smog says, "How the heck are we favored tonight?" Well, we're playing the Orlando Magic. That's
apparently Orlando's favored by 1. Actually,
the line changed.
I can check. I'll check ESPN. I actually have the scoreboard right here. Tuesday.
Someone is asking if we had any chance of getting Harden. I would say, very, very unlikely. We cannot, outside of trading Dame for him, would not be able to get him this year. So I don't think anyone would want to trade Dame for Harden, right? Who could possibly leave after this year.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't get any other compensation back. And Harden's older than Dame. So, yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, so we can't get him this year. If we're talking about in free agency, I mean, we'd have to find a way to clear up over $40 million in cap space. So I think we'd be talking about either signing, trading Ant and others for him, or letting Ant walk and trading Harden. So I don't know if any of those options are even worth discussing further, because they're pretty much not going to happen unless Harden like forced his way here. Would be the only way that would even be possible. But yeah, I just don't see that as being a likely scenario at all.
ESPN says Orlando's favored by 1.5. Orlando's a 1.5 point road favorite.
The worst team in the league, right? Are they tied with the Pistons for the worst record?
I'm not sure.
So the worst team in the league is favored.
Yeah, they are. No, they're the worst.
In Portland. That's hilarious. That's so hilarious.
Imagine picking this game.
I understand why, but like that's really funny. Rip to that guy who bet $100 on the Blazers.
Yeah, that's an L.
Hey man, we found
a
way to make this game losable.
Good job, front office. Good job. We're trying to catch the Magic. Oh my goodness, man.
I wonder. I mean, I know we're not good either, but I wonder how many times the worst team in the league has been favored in a road game before.
Yeah, like this late into the season.
I'm guessing it's not outside of like a super injury, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Still. Dude, I'm so scramble-brained right now.
Nurk's tweet made me sad. Maybe we should.
What did Dame tweet? Because somebody was like, Dame's post is going to make me cry or something. I don't know.
Was it on IG or?
Oh, Dame hadn't posted yet. I misread that. It's like whatever Dame posts in the future is going to make me cry. So, never mind. Dang. Sabonis and Fox together. I don't know how much I like that. Neither are good defensively. Neither can shoot.
All right, so 31 minutes ago, Nurk posted, there are friends, there is family, and then there are friends that become family. 100 CJ McCollum, brother for life. After he posted a video of him dunking yesterday. And that's kind of sad.
A month ago, Tyrese Haliburton said, I'm a member of the Sacramento Kings, so I'm going to help fix this. It ain't going to be in a day, but I'm going to be here, and we're going to make it work. I promise that. And they traded him. That's a dude who wanted to make it work there. And, dude, you really telling me they couldn't have traded Fox for Sabonis? They should have traded freaking Fox. Haliburton and Sabonis is so much more cohesive than Fox and Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
And Haliburton makes more sense starting next to Mitchell than Fox does. Like, it doesn't... Indiana must have really wanted Haliburton, dude. Haliburton's going to become a star there in Indiana. In Duarte, I don't think he's going to become a star. But, like, he's a good piece. Like, if they draft another star, if they draft, like, a Jabari Smith, you know what I mean? They get somebody like him or a Banchero. Like, Banchero would fit there, actually. That would be a great fit for Banchero. He would have a ton of spacing around him. Ooh, that could be dirty.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they get for Holmes. What if the Clippers flip like Rocco for Holmes or something?
Can we get Rocco back?
What's this mean for Barnes, you think? What's weird is...
Oh, yeah, they still have Brogdon. I'm completely forgetting about Brogdon. Go ahead.
Barnes, I thought, was going to be in all these like trade scenarios because... So the Kings could reshape their front court by... They still have Barnes and Rashawn Holmes to trade.
I think they might try and get assets for them and then go try and get Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
They'll be like, look at us. We got De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, and Jeremy Grant. Big three.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think of something that would make sense, but man, they're the one team dumb enough to trade for Tobias Harris, I feel like. I could see them doing like Barnes and then Holmes to like a third team and then Tobias there.
I'm just going to say this for anybody in this stream. If you insult one of my mods, it'll be a permaban, all right? You're lucky I haven't mentioned that, Michael. But if next time anyone insults any one of my mods, it's a permaban. Like, I already don't play when you insult me, but definitely don't insult my freaking mod, alright? Don't insult Jackson, don't insult Connor, don't insult any of my mods. Hell no, I'm not going to play with that. That pisses me off. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I was just saying that Tobias Harris would... I mean, I wouldn't do it, obviously, if I was Sacramento, but some sort of some sort of Barnes to Philly, and then like an expiring contract, and then they get Tobias Harris. That would be such an L, but I could see them doing something like that.
Bro, I'm tired of... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even going to mention this tweet. It seems like a lot of people don't like this for the Kings. I feel like you're a little higher on it for the Kings than most people are.
Me?
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not
normally
high.
You're a little bit more critical too, so it's kind of a first.
I'm not high on it. I like that they just. I mean, I think Sabonis is a good fit there. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't like Fox, so I would have done everything I could to trade him for that power forward. But I think part of it is, I mean, I kind of had a good feeling that the Kings would be going hard after a Sabonis or a John Collins type player, and it came to fruition. So. I mean, they give up Haliburton, but they didn't have to give up any picks or anything. I don't know. I think it's a pretty fair trade, but Haliburton's going to be the best player in this trade eventually, but I can understand the Kings trading in their backcourt depth for a really good frontcourt player. So, I mean, like I said, I'd rather have the Pacers side of this, but I don't think it's like the biggest mess up in the world for the Kings.
Kings fans are pissed.
Yeah, I bet.
I just retweeted Kings fans being pissed.
We knew that. This is what I was telling people though. Like, we knew these teams like the Kings were going to do something dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's now. Like, everyone who was in them, like, if there were teams that were hard after Sabonis, that like those teams are now going to be panicking the next 2 days, and a lot of teams that were in on Turner are probably now like, oh crap, what if the Pacers don't trade Turner?
Like, to your mic.
So there's going to be some players that have extra value these next couple of days that might not have beforehand.
Yep.
I mean, Sabonis is a good player on a good contract. I think he makes like $18 million or something a year. Like, his contract's fine. It's not like he's on a max contract or something.
Where's the direction? I mean, maybe they just need a Chris Paul trade or something. I don't know, man. But like, where's the direction? Because like, I remember we were saying about Phoenix in the past, and then they made that Chris Paul trade, and now they're phenomenal. But like, you got Fox and Sabonis. Neither guy. Like, they're just fringe all-stars. They don't even have a legitimate all-star.
Yeah, but they still have, like we talked about, Barnes' contract and Rashawn Holmes and all their future first, I think. So, I mean, they could still use those assets to get another player. It's not like this is completely done or whatever. Maybe they're gonna get. Maybe they'll get John Collins too.
That would be such a Kings trade.
Fox, Mitchell, Collins, Sabonis, core.
That's so weird, man.
Yeah.
That's like 2K and just like throwing in random trades into a rebuild. Like, I mean, that team still absolutely sucks defensively.
I mean, shooting wise, I know that doesn't make sense, but they could still be in play for a Fox for Simmons type trade. I mean, obviously they have to.
Simmons, Sabonis. Simmons, Collins, Sabonis, Mitchell.
I don't think Sabonis and Simmons is the worst pairing. But yeah.
Yeah, man.
RGS is a Siakam to Blazers still possible. So this is something we brought up earlier. Without trading Dame, the Blazers cannot trade for anyone making more than 23.1 million this year. So it would have to be for Dame if we traded Siakam, which isn't happening, obviously. And so I guess in the offseason we might be able to somehow combine contracts to get there. But a Siakam kind of trade or anyone making in the $30 million range, like Ben Simmons is in this group too, all those type of trades are going to be very, very difficult to pull off unless we're talking in the offseason like somehow Bledsoe's contract, which would have to be guaranteed, and then like our pick or the New Orleans pick if we keep it or whatever. So those kind of moves would have to be the only way we could even get to a Siakam contract wise. So yeah.
So we will be streaming live on trade deadline day, and I'll have more energy for that, even if I have to like inject energy, inject a Red Bull into my veins. Right now I'm tired. I didn't get much sleep. This trade happened early in the morning my time. I mean, my hair I still got like this sleepy head and whatnot.
Could have thrown on a hat.
I don't know where my hat is, man. I don't know where my hats are. I think I left like my couple hats in my car. So we'll be streaming live on trade deadline day with like graphics, and we'll grade trades, and we'll have the Twitter feeds for both Woj and Shams that'll update live. We'll have that on the screen, so that'll be cool. So definitely tune in for our trade deadline stream Thursday morning, leading up to the trade deadline. We'll go live like 4 to 5 hours before the trade deadline. 4 hours before the trade deadline, like 8 a.m. Pacific time. Sabonis is not better than Dame. Chats, yeah. We got a lot of new people in chat right now, Eric. Can you tell?
Yeah. We also, we'll obviously be live after the game tonight. We do a post-game show for those that don't know right here on this channel. So we will have a post-game show tonight. Obviously, no one's really going to care about the Magic Blazers game. Including Torey and I. So if you want more CJ talk and any other NBA type trades that happen, we will be live after the game tonight, and then we'll also have a Twitter space during that stream. So if you want to ask us a question directly and are able to access Twitter spaces, you can hop on and do that. So it'll probably just evolve into a longer Twitter space because we don't really want to talk about the game much right at this point. We're not even trying to win. We're not even favored at home against the worst team in the league. So I think at this point we will be talking mostly about trades. So make sure you tune into that if you want more trade content before Thursday. And then we'll also have a stream tomorrow on our second channel talking about just preparing for the deadline deal. And of course, if there's a Nurkic trade or a follow-up to this trade or whatever, some other sort of big move, we will be live back again for you. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and hope you enjoy all the streaming we do. And we appreciate everyone who tuned in, even if you were trolling. Thank you for at least coming in here and checking us out. And I hope you all have a good day.
Us a view.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to sign off, and then Jeremy Grant's going to the Blazers, and we'll be live like 20 minutes after we sign. But at least I'd be able to run to the store.
Yeah. Yeah. Go get some lunch or something real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I'm prepared. I don't think I'm getting any more sleep today, unfortunately. But, yeah. So, subscribe if you haven't already.
And just some people are asking this. So there's no chance that the players would be cleared fast enough to play tonight, I don't think. So none of the players in the trades today will play. And we play tomorrow again. There's a chance the physicals could get cleared tomorrow. So tomorrow's game against the Lakers would probably be the earliest, but it might even be longer than that. And we might be holding players out on purpose for other trades or to make this a third-team trade. So I seriously doubt it'll be it won't be tonight, but doubtful for tomorrow too, I'd say.
Yeah. I'm at the point where I can't even comprehend anything that's being said. I think I need to sign off.
All right, man. Everyone have a good day. We'll be back at it tonight or as soon as there's more news. Have a good one.
Yeah, that's a wrap up for the CJ stream. We'll catch you whenever we catch you next. I have no idea when that might be. It might be in 20 minutes. It might be later tonight on the post-game show. Whenever I catch you next, hope life is good. Until then, have a good rest of your day. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.